Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Brain Trust. This is episode 69. I have my co-host with me, co-facilitating this, Lionel and Dollar Will.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm hanging in there.
Cool.
Give me 1 second.
We need a brain trust comedian or some clowns.
Play some polka music.
Play some polka music
Yeah.
or band. There you go. The brain trust band. We need theme music. Anybody out there listening, you got some ideas about some theme music? You come across some royalty free music you think that'll work? Hit
Hmm.
us up. Put it in the comment section.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
So we got some interesting discussions on the topic today. Um, we'll first start off with an event that I had come across. It was in my email, but for the Linux Foundation is actually co-hosting an event at Credit Suisse. And if you're looking at my screen right now, it says the Open FinTech Forum, AI, blockchain, Kubernetes on Wall Street. So basically, what they're talking about is this new um, digital banking, artificial intelligence, the blockchain, and as well as Kubernetes is the serverless infrastructure, basically, and how microservices work in tandem with the blockchain and artificial intelligence. Uh, and what we're looking at right here is basically focusing on the intersection of financial services and open source. Open FinTech Forum will provide CIOs and senior technologists guidance on building internal open source programs, as well as in-depth look at cutting-edge open source blockchain distributed ledger, Kubernetes containers that can be leveraged to drive efficiency on flexibility. And this is just a list of some of the people that are going to be attending and speaking out. Um, a lot of big names are going to be up here, as well as you see a lot of advertisers here that are going to be there as well that are invested in the blockchain as well as cryptocurrencies. Let me see if I can pull up the programs. We'll look at the schedule. This is happening October 10th and October 11th in New York. Um,
But people, if you can't see it on your screen, we read, check the articles in the comment section or description section below the video.
Hmm.
It's not on the screen, but
it's not on the screen
no,
Let me check. Let me double check. Really? Let me.
because I can see it on mine.
it's not like full screen.
Oh, it's like when we talk.
It's like the avatar. It's not. It's like a thumbnail size. It's not like full screen size.
What?
But read along. People bring it up. It's probably better to yeah. I don't know. It does that for me
Oh,
sometimes too. I don't
I'm
know why.
sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me go back to the front page. So again, October 10th to October 11th, 2018, in New York, New York, Open FinTech Forum, Artificial Intelligence, Blockchain, Kubernetes on Wall Street. Um, this is just a gallery of the keynote speakers. These are all big names in the industry of cryptocurrencies and as well as blockchain and cloud development. Um, a lot of the sponsors are here. These are all big names. GitLabs was just acquired, I think, by Microsoft, like $7 billion. Let me pull up the program, get the schedule, and just looking at the schedule. Some of the things that come to mind, tutorials on building smart contracts on the public cloud. That's really big stuff if you're using Ethereum. I know you're pretty familiar with Ethereum, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, smart contracts, self-signing, self-signing on contracts. That's important stuff when you're building infrastructure for cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Um, Tutorial on containers. What's the hype and what's ripe. If you don't know what a container is a small running service that is basically used for as a micro server. So instead of using a big mainframe or uh, a big server to run a task, you could run it inside of a container, and the container can actually be um, the containers are basically immutable. So if there's any changes to the container itself, then it's already defunct. So that's why containers are really popular
Okay.
when it comes to the cloud and then when it comes to building cryptocurrencies. Introduction to blockchain. Got something to say, Lino?
Yeah, I have a question. This is in New York, New York. Now, is this the only place it can be held or will be held in New York, or will it be across the country in different major cities?
I think this is a one-off event
Okay.
because I think it's being held with Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse is, you know, I guess one of the big sponsors of it. The Linux Foundation is the driver behind it, but I think Credit Suisse is the partner behind it. So
Okay.
another tutorial, a health chain using Hyperledger Fabric. That's huge stuff in terms of the blockchain itself. Running a cloud native model is another, or how to run a cloud native model is another tutorial. Working discussions, contributing to open source. Just a bunch of keynotes, a lot of keynotes. Again, another working session. Blockchain proof of concept to production. How and what gets us there. These are good discussions, good workshops to be attending if you're going to be in that area or if you're available next week. I'm still debating if I should go up there, and I have a couple other events I need to attend.
Yeah, everything sounds really uh, uh, good in what you just said. These are skills that, like we mentioned before, are in need, and they're giving workshops and on how to do the type of skills that are going to be needed in the future.
Hmm. Yeah, another workshop. When you shouldn't use blockchains or smart contracts. When to use a blockchain, when not to use a blockchain. I know blockchain gets thrown around a lot as a
Mhm.
social term, but there are places you use it and you just don't use it. So
I would love to go to something like this.
yeah, reality of quantum computing. That's another interesting one.
I like that. Well, how open the pod bay doors
Oh,
and
will you say that?
at the 2:50 p.m. the light blue.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and for people that
That's
know
all machine
who Hal is, or yeah, Hal is, it's just a reference to a movie, Space Odyssey 2001. That's just a reference,
learning.
which is a pretty good movie.
Mhm. And then here's another one. Building a fintech startup on cloud native technology. That's huge stuff. That's You're not going to get that anywhere else. And I'm not anywhere affiliated with these people, but when I saw the email come in, I said I got to get up here and get to this event if I can. If I have the opportunity, I will. But building a fintech startup on cloud native technology, you're talking about AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, which is GCP. The ability to utilize virtual infrastructure to launch your startup is huge, and a lot of people don't know where to go for this type of information, and you're not going to be able to find it on Amazon's book list. Like, and if you don't like reading books, like some people do, if you're a visual learner, being able to attend this event and actually absorb a lot of the information is going to be very beneficial to you.
Mm. This looks awesome.
Yep, yep. Enterprise blockchain adoption, trends and predictions.
And also, I know you mentioned a lot. This is a place where you can also network, right?
Yes, there's networking sessions at the beginning of the event, so it's always good to have that badge around your neck and just walk around and shake hands with people,
Mm.
for social networking purposes, that sort of deal. So this event happens October 10th to October 11th. The link is in the description. I'm not sure how much it costs. I'm not sure if they even sold out of tickets, but definitely something you should get into if you're into cryptocurrencies, blockchain, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. So
This is awesome.
just want to share that.
All right.
We'll go to our next article.
All right. Our next article, let's get into this, comes from Forbes.com, titled A First for Manhattan, 30 million real estate property tokenized with blockchain, written October 3rd by Rachel Wolfson. All right, tokenization is paving the way for a new forefront in real estate development, Sirhan told me. With proper discipline and respect, the future is bright for tokenized securities. Okay. Into the article, a luxury Manhattan condo development is getting a new digital home on the worldwide Ethereum blockchain. The building, a completed 12-unit construction with 1,700 square foot units located on 436 and 442 East 13th Street in the East Village, is the first major asset in Manhattan to be tokenized on Ethereum. The property has recently been appraised at more than $30 million. Ryan Serhant, best-selling author of Sell It Like Serhant and star of Bravo's $1 Million Listing New York, is the listing broker on the deal. He and the developer are turning to tokenization as a new method of financing, which could serve as a better alternative for the project and investors. The market in New York has always been strong, but it can take some time to sell for the right price in a new construction building. With blockchain tokenization, we can remove the unruly pressure of traditional bank financing, which is much healthier for the project and all of the stakeholders. Tokenization is paving the way for a new forefront in real estate development, Sirhan told me. Tokenization is the process of representing the ownership of real world assets digitally on a blockchain. This new method of financing is the result of a partnership between Propeller and Fluidity, two companies that have joined forces to offer compliant products and services for the creation, distribution, and transfer of digital securities. Quote, traditional security structures and issuance frameworks haven't evolved in a long time. With blockchain technology, a transparent and trustless ecosystem can start to solve the information asymmetry that hinders the market potential for liquidity. This asset structure, sponsor, and sell team showcase this evolution. With proper discipline and respect, the future is bright for tokenized securities. End quote. Um, a few weeks ago, we went over a Andy Warhol picture being tokenized. I think 18 electric chains being tokenized and sold. This is the second that we know of a real world asset being tokenized and sold. I've heard from, I've listened to crypto pundits, and they've been saying that they've been talking to people that are in the know, and they've been saying that a lot of things will be tokenized. A lot of assets will be tokenized, such as real estate, such as paintings. That the two things we've already talked about, and multiple people can own sections of this painting or parts of this painting. And when the price goes up, then they'll sell it. It's just an easier way to sell large items that was previously been thought of. This is what rich people do. Only rich people buy these type of buildings or paintings.
And what it does is it democratizes just about any sort of infrastructure or institution. Typically you pay taxes, to your public institutions like a library or a hospital or something like that, and you get to vote with your tax dollars, right? But in this regard, you're starting to use blockchain and even a cryptocurrency to actually have some form of stake in something.
It's I want to say breaking down the barriers, but not in the sense that that word is always used, but breaking down the barriers in terms of, oh, that million
Fear.
dollar paintings. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty easy. You buy, if you want the Andy Warhol painting, you buy however amount of tokens that you need to purchase it, and it's easier. So yeah.
Yeah, I think when people see, large dollar value things purchased with cryptocurrency, that's just going to be a slam dunk. I mean, because if you can have a transaction for, art and homes, I mean, what can't you buy?
Now
you know.
the same pundits was saying that, and soon are going to be able to purchase entire blocks, like city blocks of buildings.
Wow, that's incredible. Now also just think about how easy it'll be to purchase property in, let's say, other countries.
Hmm.
you know, that's
That's a
man.
thought,
No, you don't have
because
to worry about how you're
people,
gonna get your money, how you gonna transfer your money. Your
uh,
dollars from a bank. If you have a borderless currency.
because the property is on a
Well,
blockchain, and so you know who owns what. It can't be it'll severely cut down on a situation where, well, I bought this, but somebody already owned this property. So it'll severely cut down on that.
What do you call that? Not settlement. When you call it the title industry is going to really be affected by this. You say if all properties are, I mean, can they go back in time and put properties from the past, create a blockchain for?
if
Go
if
ahead,
they
Mike.
auction it off, yes. If they auction it off, yes. So if they want to auction it to like a holding group, the holding group could actually have the blockchain itself and actually they can put it on there, and then they can divvy it out through small crypto investments, right? So whoever owns the most Ethereum coins or Ether coins, or whatever you want to call it, they could actually invest into it, depending on which way they want to go about it. But it can be done. I'm thinking one step further, where what's the probability that you can put a not a transponder, but a robot on an asteroid, and you can claim it through a blockchain process, and have a whole bunch of African Americans or Black people globally have a piece of a
Hmm.
piece of property in space.
That's a good idea.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm still kind of stuck on it, kind of blown away with that title aspect, because title search is a big thing. You still have scams or not. I'm not going to say scams, administrative errors. I mean, legitimate, honest errors with title issues. Where people think they own their property and who don't know who owns the property, and man, blockchain can help with that.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the states in the United States has actually already started doing that. I want to say it's Utah or California. I think they already started that. Actually, it's California. I think we discussed this on one of the articles a few hangouts ago on Space and Technology. I want to say it was there. But California actually has a blockchain political investment group, something to that effect. Basically, there's an oversight group for blockchain where they're talking about putting properties and other aspects of California onto the blockchain itself.
Wow. So this pack is of course what, like lobbying Congress, or they're lobbying their state legislators, state bodies to get more blockchain adoption. Which do you know about what that pack is doing?
It's like a blockchain oversight group for the state of California,
Okay.
and how to use the infrastructure and how to manage it, and basically putting pieces of California onto the blockchain itself. So
Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm. All right. To our second article, third article. Topic on the docket comes from CoinDesk.com. Title: U.S. Customs official claims crypto conversions can be traced. Written by Nicholas D. on October 4th. Article: A quote-unquote vulnerability is created every time criminals convert from cryptocurrency to government-issued ones. An official with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said Tuesday. Matthew Allen, an assistant director of domestic operations with the Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI, division of ICE, discussed the role of cryptocurrencies in drug trafficking during an October 3rd hearing before the U.S. Senate Caucus on International Narcotics Control. On darknet marketplaces and other unindexed websites, purchases are often paid for with cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Monero, among many others, he said in a prepared statement. Perhaps most notably, he noted that HSI is having some level of success in tracking criminals who use cryptocurrencies to launder proceeds from drug sales. While cryptocurrencies make transferring value relatively easy, he contended criminals still need to convert cryptocurrencies into fiat and vice versa. During the process, whenever monetary exchanges are made, a vulnerability is created, he went on to say. This is the time when criminals are most susceptible to identification by law enforcement means and methods, Allen stated, explaining, quote, utilizing traditional investigative methods such as surveillance, undercover operations, and confidential informants, coupled with financial and blockchain analysis, ICE HSI is able to disrupt the criminals and dismantle the transnational criminal organizations, as well as cryptocurrency exchangers who typically launder proceeds for criminal networks engaged in or supporting darknet marketplaces. End quote. Allen went on to discuss multiple types of cryptocurrency exchanges and how they may be used to facilitate money laundering. Peer to peer exchanges, in particular, referring to startups which refuse to register as a money service business and do not follow compliance laws, are often used to ensure users remain anonymous. Despite that, however, national and international agencies are training investigators in how to best track cryptocurrencies, he said. We train investigators in an effort to deter organizations from laundering proceeds or using cryptocurrencies to fund the purchase of fentanyl, opioids, or other narcotics, he said. A few points I want to make while I read the title of the article. First, U.S. Customs official claims crypto conversions can be traced. A few things I want to say about this article. The first one is there was a study, and I do not have the link to the study, I should find it, that said that revealed that cryptocurrencies are not used any more than other fiat or government issued currencies to launder money. In fact, government issued money is still used widely more to launder money. An example was when people love to say these, like ISIS or something. Uh, to use cryptocurrency, for them to use cryptocurrency is really, it's not feasible. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on. It's not practical. They use the two cryptocurrencies that they use in this is Bitcoin and Monero. What they're speaking about, the quote unquote vulnerability in cryptocurrency, it's pseudo anonymity, which means you you are connected to your address, your 16 digit address, which means if someone want to send you money, you give them your, your public key, and they send you that money. They don't have to know your name, where you live, so forth and so forth. They don't know how to, they don't know how to, they do not know how to, how, how am I talking? They do not know, golly, they don't, how am I trying to say this? They don't need to know your real name, anything. So they just need to know that public key to send you money. Well, if the government can connect you to that public key, then they know your public key. So if you have somebody send you $100 in Bitcoin and you transfer into fiat through your Coinbase account, then if they are able to link that, then they know your public key. With Monero is interesting because it is a strictly privacy based cryptocurrency. So with Monero, when you send money with cryptocurrency, usually it tells you who it's from. But with Monero, you have the ability not to show your public address. So when you receive money, it's anonymous. And when you see money, when you send money through the network, they take your transaction and connect it with other transactions to confuse the network. And so you don't know who it's coming from. Also, the public key can disappear. You can use an anonymous public key. It's all anonymous. But when you want to change your Bitcoin into Monero, that's what a vulnerability is. So if the government say, okay, this public address changed Bitcoin to Monero, this much Bitcoin to Monero, and this much Bitcoin transfers to this much in US dollars. Let's say $5,000 worth of Bitcoin to Monero. If they can find that, who owns that public key, then they know this person is transferring this much money to Monero. That's where the vulnerabilities come in. When you're transferring in and out of Monero, and when you're transferring Bitcoin to fiat money, those are the vulnerabilities they're speaking about.
And the public key is static, so that's
Right.
that's
It doesn't change.
yeah, it doesn't change.
Your public key is derived from your private key.
Right. So anybody that wants to track you, let me just say, if they want to track activity of a large dollar amount, so you can have people looking on the blockchain and recording public keys that are associated with large dollar amounts.
Exactly.
And at some point in the future, they might find out the identity
right.
of the public key holder. And then all of a sudden, you've left that trail, and they now have associated you with a trail that they've been collected. Gotcha.
Exactly. And to be honest, there are people who actually do that now. They spend much of their day and life tracking this because when a large amount of Bitcoin is moved, all of a sudden it's in the news. So people are tracking this already, and they've been tracking it for at least 2 years.
And so just check this out. Let's say if I suspect that it's Lionel.
Oh, I got you. Okay, go ahead.
All I have to do is do a transaction with you at a certain time, known quantity of money. I look on the blockchain and I go, yeah, that's the transaction I did with Lionel. Now I know that Lionel is the public key.
Right. Correct. You are correct, sir.
Now, I was just going to actually point out on that article. If you go back to that article, I know there's a little conference right there that says Invest 2018 in New York City.
Oh.
You can click on that. That would be interesting.
Invest this one right here while I'm hovering over.
Yeah.
This little. Let's
Yeah.
see here. Okay, CoinDesk. Invest November 20. Oh, it's passed out. No, I didn't. Today is October.
Next month.
Yeah. Price is 15.
Go to the agenda.
That's with agenda.
It's turkey time.
It is. You know, when you said Turkey, I thought the country Turkey because I'm so been listening to, geopolitics. I just automatically thought the Turkey, the country Turkey. Okay. It starts at 2 p.m. with registration, breakfast, history of crypto and finance, breakfast. No, a.m. I apologize. Let's see. Welcome, State of Blockchain by Nolan Burrell. Keynote, Tiger Cubs. Okay. Keynote again. They're talking about a world-class financial journalist and author sits with a prominent Wall Street hedge fund billionaire to discuss his trip down the rabbit hole and his aha moment around Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Andrew Ross Sorkin and Mark Lasry. Networking break. Okay. Is Bitcoin the most important macro hedge in the world today? Tax and accounting tools. This sounds interesting. The crypto industry continues to challenge tax and accounting services. This workshop features top startup service providers as well as traditional Big Four participants. Wow. As they offer insights and a Q&A on how to meet these challenges today. Wealth managers wrangle crypto. It's pretty interesting.
It sounds like an interesting event.
Yeah, and this is. Let me see. This is I can add this to the. Where's it at? The description is what I'm trying to say. The New York.
In New York.
Yeah, the New York Marriott Marquis.
Right around fried turkey time.
So yeah, Mike.
No, I was gonna say you could drop that into the chat section.
Okay, let me go ahead.
I just wanted to give my opinion on the U.S. Customs thing. If I remember correctly, I know that the U.S. government wanted ISPs in the United States to actually help in tracking down any sort of crypto transactions that were deemed illegitimate, used for illegitimate tasks. So if you combine the ISPs, Comcast and Verizon, who are the two main ISP giants in the country, in trying to facilitate a way to intercept some of these transactions, the U.S. government seems to be adamant about going after these people, including U.S. Customs. So I think the article is pretty timely.
I'm gonna put it into the. Let me stop sharing my screen. Is have that vortex effect. I can't put it in the chat. I'm not a admin in the chat, so I'm put it.
Wait, you're not. You don't have a wrench?
Nah, and I can feel the jokes coming on. It didn't dawn on me to wrench myself. It just didn't dawn on me.
I'll put it. I'll put it.
Roger that. All right. We got that. Okay. Go on to the next topic on the docket. All right. This one comes. Did I? Okay. Leave. Go to site. All right. This one comes from investing.com. Title: Meet the cryptocurrency aiming to empower the unbanked. These are a lot of pop-ups. All right. Electroneum. Really? Okay. Electroneum gives individuals the opportunity to enter the world of digital assets and join the gig economy, a unique offering in an increasingly connected world by investing.com article. The number of people using smartphones is quickly growing. Data released during the 2018 Mobile World Congress showed an estimated 2.2 billion with a B devices in use worldwide, a number that will only increase as more people realize that it's essential to be connected in today's world. Moreover, mobile isn't the only market on the rise. The world of cryptocurrency is expanding at a lightning pace. More than 1,700 cryptocurrencies are available, and like the number of smartphone users, the amount of people involved in cryptocurrency is set to grow substantially. Of course, there is some way to go before the 2.2 billion who own smartphones adopt and embrace cryptocurrency. But one British business is looking to lead the way in speeding up the process. Electronium, a cryptocurrency that has grown more than 2 million users just 8 months after launching in November 2017, is aiming to connect smartphone users to the world of digital assets, a community built on cryptocurrency. Electronium was launched on Coinbean recently and enables smartphone users to access small amounts of Electronium currency through its mobile app, enabling them to make ultra-fast payments and transactions. The power and appeal of this idea has seen Electronium's community grow to more than 2 million users just 8 months into its first year in business. Electronium is different because it is mobile friendly and because it rewards users for their engagement, something that other cryptocurrencies currently only reserve for miners, explained Richard Ellis, the company's CEO, in a recent interview. We're trying to create a system where people can earn and spend ETN in shops and stores. Our reward system will enable people to engage in ETN to earn around $3 a month. Not a large amount of money to people in the Western world, but a substantial amount in areas where the money incomes is often around $100. Okay, I see where this is going. We know, I like this. We know there's a market around 350 million people who have smartphones, but no bank accounts. And by building this type of economic ecosystem, we'll be able to make a real difference in these people's lives. A global network that will enable a gig economy. A key element of Electronium's growth will be its team's ability to negotiate more commercial partnerships with mobile telecommunications operators, growing the company's potential reach beyond 130 million combined mobile users to which their current agreements give them access. Additionally, other projects equally capable of increasing the ETN's base of enthusiasts are being developed, with special emphasis on the gig economy. This will allow companies to hire professionals to carry out tasks as needed and allow people with specific skills to monetize them and boost their income. Aims to enable smartphone users to learn simple digital skills such as creating stop motion animation, logo design, and content creation, and sell that work online, an ambition that could unlock unimaginable opportunities for people across the globe. Els continues, quote, we're building a website where people can trade their digital skills, things like animation, design, and content creation, which we know there's a market for in exchange and for payment and ETN, end quote. We quote, we know there's a demand for these type of skills. Digital marketing is essential to businesses across the world, but there is only a finite amount of content businesses can create themselves. We're solving this problem by connecting the market to the providers and enabling people who have these skills to get paid for their time and talents through their mobile phones. End quote. There's a lot of quotes here. Businesses that buy into this deal will be in a win-win position. They'll be supporting local people with talent, demonstrating their commitment to cooperate social responsibility, and getting content for their social media channels at the same time. And people who have skills in areas like design, animation, and content creation will be able to use them to earn more money every month. An innovative route to a $3 trillion market. Wow. Electronium's gig economy oriented approach should enable the 350 million people in developing countries who currently don't have a bank account to enter the digital era via their smartphones and open the door to a market that is worth around 3 trillion with a T, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. What we want in the long term is for people to be able to earn ETN by creating and selling pieces of content either to firms that are in their own country or from another part of the world, and then be able to spend what they earn online or in a local shop, Ellis explains. There's demand for digital skills from the UK, US, and Europe. There's a potential market of people who can learn and provide these skills quick and easy. And there's a retail infrastructure that where we could spend what they earn. They could spend what they earn. All we need to do is join the three up, and we're very close to doing this. If changing the lives of millions of people by opening the door to the digital world and helping them earn more is not innovative, it is difficult to find something that really is. Thus, coupled with a growing global network of users and corporate partners and a growing community that supports Electronium, suggests it can become one of the largest digital assets on the planet in the not too distant future. All right. Interested in learning, you can find and trade ETN at CoinBeing or visit the ETN website at electronium.com for more information. This is interesting. Um, I know you got a comment on this one, Mike. I would like to hear it.
This is groundbreaking. I it pretty much puts everything into one package. Creates this whole entire digital society onto emerging technologies. I I can't stress enough. This is monumental.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean the gig economy definitely. I mean the whole gig economy. I think it took us all by surprise by how quickly things move. It's like we've gotten. Let's see, in the old financial model, we were accustomed to getting paid a week later, sometimes 2 weeks later. Freelancers of all type complain that sometimes it's a month or so. We had the controversy with Ebony magazine a while back, people may remember, but now in the gig economy, people expect to be paid that day or the next day.
Yeah, this.
And it's good that see the technology helping
Yeah,
to expedite payments.
yeah, yeah. And when they said that earn $3 a day, or no, $3 a month, I saw where it was going. I saw where they were going because I heard about it, electronium. Last time I heard about electronium was they were saying you can mine electronium on your phone, but that's the last time I heard about it. I didn't look into too much about it, but now I see this that it has great potential because, like the article said, a lot of people don't have bank accounts. Period.
Right.
That's just the truth. But these people in these countries that don't have bank account that live on what $100 a day supposedly they do have cell phones, so only thing they need to do is get the telecommunications company to well hook up with the telecommunications company and these people can start making money through electronium.
Wow.
And but also you need on the other side the local shops to be able to accept electronium also, so yeah.
Well, that's your point of sales, right? So your point of sales would have to be implemented, and that's usually not hard. I believe Square was just talking about implementing crypto payments on their cash registers. So
Mm,
Yeah, that
the
is the
ability
holdup
to
right
actually,
now. That is the holdup right
Yeah.
now. People have money sitting in, like you said, Square Cash, PayPal, whatever. You really can't uh do much with it, but transfer it back to your bank. You know,
Mhm.
and I mean the breakthrough is going to be when a big merchant like Walmart. I know we keep coming back to Walmart, but lots of Americans end up at Walmart at one point or another throughout the week. When Walmart fully embraces, gets their point of sale act together, then we're going to see things move at lightning speed, and the unbanked. There's not going to be much need for people to go to a bank. I mean, how many times do people? When's the last time you physically been to a bank?
Wow.
I actually haven't been to a bank since I lost my card. I had to go to the bank and actually verify who I was. That was about it. But even Walmart has talked about paying its employees fractional Bitcoin payments
Mhm. I
as
remember
a
that.
way to, instead of giving them $15 an hour, give them fractional Bitcoin payments, and that would actually subsidize the compensation. So I mean, there's all types of ways of going about it, but I think this electronium is headed in the right direction. Something that we should probably put on a weekly docket to watch and pay attention to.
Yeah. And me, I don't think I think the last time I've been to a brick and mortar bank was last decade.
Yeah, see, yeah, I'm gonna bring up the gig economy again because it's a lot and gig economy and the unbanked. Uh, People are without bank accounts for a lot of reasons. Sometimes you run into financial difficulty. You might have some, your account may be frozen or it might be being garnished. you know, a lot of times for social services, you have to turn over bank records, and so you certain transactions you might not want to be recorded, because you are trying to represent that you have less money than you do. So it's a big web of reasons why we have this large unbanked population, and
Well, one of the big issues with traditional banking is that you have to maintain a balance of a certain amount. I know for a lot of major banks, it has to be at least $500. For a lot of people, they can't even maintain $100. So what happens when you don't maintain your balance? They end up closing your account, and then your money is gone, and then you end up in the red. And you can't open up another account with that bank for another year, if not 2 years. So there's a lot of there are a lot of people who just can't, who don't bring in enough income to actually uh, value an actual traditional bank account. And you see Western Unions and check cashes in most of these low income black areas for a reason, because they prey upon those people who don't have these bank accounts. And I think with the emergence of electronium and more of these smartphones coming out and these tablets that are going to be wirelessly connected, I think it's game over for these old dinosaur brick and mortars.
Yeah.
well, it's gonna
And
put
also,
them in a. It's gonna put those dinosaur brick and mortars in a position where they're gonna have to compete, offer some service to make people have some need for them again, and that I think that's good to put them in a competitive position. I mean, look, they got rid of most of the tellers, so what else are they doing with the money? With the money they're making? So
yeah, yeah. All right. I want to add something to the docket. Let me go ahead and share my screen. On. All right. This one comes from CoinGate.com. The title is CFTC announces federal court finds virtual currencies as commodities end of security debate with a question mark on October 4th, which was yesterday. CFTC has declared that federal court agrees with the agency's ruling on virtual currencies are commodities. So does that mean it ends the security and commodity debate for all cryptocurrencies? Cryptocurrencies are commodities, CFTC asserts. The U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC, announced on Twitter that federal court finds virtual currencies as commodities. According to the official report on CFTC website, on September 26, 2018, the senior judge Rhea W. Zabel of the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts declared that CFTC has the power to pros- prosecute. Oh my God, I can't remember. I can't prosecute fraud relating to virtual currencies. In response, CFTC Director of Enforcement James McDonald commented, quote, "This is an important ruling that confirms the authority of the CFTC to investigate and combat fraud in the virtual currency markets. This ruling, like the one in McDonald from Judge Weinstein in the Eastern District of New York, recognizes the broad definition of commodity under the CEA and also that the CFTC has the power to prosecute fraud and with respect to commodities, including virtual currencies. We will continue to police these markets in close coordination with our sister agencies." End quote. Does it mean security and commodity debate is over? The court basically agreed with the CFTC's argument for my Bitcoin or MBC virtual currency being a commodity under the Commodity Exchange Act, CEA. It has covered that MBC, okay, is a virtual currency, and it is undisputed that there is futures trading in virtual currency, specifically involving Bitcoin. So does this mean the security debate has come to an end? Well, this certainly does for Bitcoin, as one Twitter user states. This should be super bullish. Further commenting, the fact that goodness, where my speech go? The fact that they are commodities and not securities. People are surely bullish on Redditor comments in part. How is it general news and not like the possible gravity alerting news it could be? However, SEC is still in the picture as well as another Redditor shares. Although the CFTC declares virtual currency as a commodity, it could still be considered by the SEC as a security. So it didn't clear out of the implications of SEC decisions. It only gave CFTC the authority to bring cases to court as well. Also, there are hundreds of coins in the crypto market, really thousands, serving different purposes. Although this can't be seen as a blanket statement, it just might set the precedence for a further ruling by the authorities in the future. All right. Any comments on this one?
Um, I'm confused.
Yeah, after reading that, me too.
welcome Nagone. I'm
Yeah.
going to turn to the real pro here, Nagone.
How you
Welcome,
doing
brother.
today, Nicole?
Come on, Nagone.
Come on down.
No, no, goes away from his computer right now.
Okay.
Hold on, saying guys. Hey, how you guys doing, man? I'm sorry, I was on mute, man.
How you doing?
Yeah, man, had to drop in. Lionel, first of all, I want to say, Lionel, how you doing, brother? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing better. Yourself?
Man, it's great, man. This is great to hear. Great to hear you, man. I hear you moving back to the Chi-Town area, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, hope all is well, man, and let's keep pressing forward. All right. What's the key question here, gentlemen?
Question: were you able to hear that story that Lionel just read, that Bitcoin has been declared a commodity? And I'm trying to understand what is the significance of it being determined to be declared to be a commodity versus a security.
Well, commodity would be more like something like to really judge.
Is it a tax issue? Is it a tax? Does it really just come down to a tax issue?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just looking at it because I'm trying to make a little sense out of this myself. Taking Bitcoin and making it
Lionel, do they kind of get at it at the top of the article? Did they say it? Did they kind of clarify it at the top of the article? Maybe look it over again, and maybe read if it does kind of read what they say. Maybe in the first two paragraphs they should give us some meat on that, but I'm struggling with that.
If they've commoditized this,
go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say that I think the reason why they'll issue it as a commodity is because of the use of it. It's many uses. So.
Yeah, and the CFTC declare it as a commodity, not the SEC.
That's what the SEC
said.
Right?
Gotcha. Okay, so the CFTC, Commodities Futures Trading, all they're saying is that we're getting ready to start to trade this.
Right. At the end of the article, it said, however, the SEC is still in the picture, as well as another Redditor's shares. Although the CFTC declares virtual currencies as a commodity, it could still be considered by the SEC as security. So it didn't clear out of the implications of SEC decisions. It only gave CFTC the authority to bring cases to court as well.
Wow, so there's a battle here to determine whether it's a commodity or a security,
or both, or both.
Yeah, and that could leave a lot of issues for legal issues as well.
But in the short term, looks like it's going to be traded on the commodities futures exchange, which strengthens the momentum for us getting an ETF at some point on the security side, because the same people trading the futures and the commodities, that same group is going to want it to be an ETF. It's like, why offer it to one, like, basically well-heeled, rich section of the marketplace, but not the common person? The common people are not really trading on the commodities and futures exchanges. Okay.
So, well, remember, there's only a handful of people in the world that actually own the majority of Bitcoin, anyways. Count on both of your hands. So we can see the wallets. The wallets are there, and whoever's holding those wallets are not holding anything less than 100 million.
Yeah, but when it gets on the exchanges, it's really just going to be about when you talk about the commodities futures exchange, that's speculators. That's people like me, traders. We're not trying to take possession of the thing. We just want to make money off of the volatility of it. But those exchanges have to actually go out and buy the actual commodity, right? Or is it just that they have to regulate who owns the contract? And until the contract I guess matures or reaches execution date, it can all stay virtual, right? It doesn't really matter. It's just paper trading until the execution date, right?
Correct.
So they really only come in, meaning the Commodities Exchange Commission, they're only there to make sure at the end, if there is an actual transfer of the commodity from buyer to seller, that it happens, right?
They're only there to make sure. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, you're correct. Go ahead, brother.
Now, that wasn't me. Who was that in the background talking?
Yeah, that was just my computer. I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So it's
I have a question. Do they have to own the actual Bitcoin to do this, or is it another instance of they trading price points?
Are we talking about now on the commodities market, on the commodity side, or
yes.
Are we talking about
yeah.
on the security side? The commodities. On the commodity side, you have to own it. Security side, you don't.
Okay. With that said, I don't see this being a good thing in the long term, because if most of the people out there, well, not most people, if most of the Bitcoin is owned by a certain number of people, and I just saw an article which said that to be in the future, to be in a 1%, to be declare a 1% of people that own Bitcoin, you're gonna have to own like 0.3 fractions of a Bitcoin, which means in the future it's going to be hard for people to own one entire Bitcoin. So if they're trading this at a large volume, I see a bubble, like a big bubble in the future of Bitcoin.
Well, that's unavoidable. You can't, if you want the price to appreciate, the bubble is your friend. It's your
I don't
friend.
see it.
It's your friend until the end.
Yeah. But bubbles are just really you know, they're short term, or they're indicators that shit's getting ready to blow up. So either you sell during that bubble and get out very quickly, or get blown up if you don't get out of it fast enough. But
Uh, uh,
bubbles are usually pretty overall. They tend to be pretty bad, to be quite frank with you.
this is gonna be horrible.
I think it's great news.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
great
yeah,
because
because we know what to expect, but
oh well, not
Yeah.
only that, it's just like every morning if you notice you're watching TV before 9:30, and when the stock market opens, they tell you about the futures trading activity to kind of give you an idea of what the day's trading is going to look like. And they're going to tell you about the S&P 500 futures trading. They're also going to tell you before 9:30 about Bitcoin trading. It's just going to keep Bitcoin in the news, on people's mind to start the trading day. So being in the futures market is just going to elevate the profile of
It is. It
Bitcoin
is.
as the head cryptocurrency. So if you're pro cryptocurrency, you have to like this.
All
More
right, hey
is
fellas, I'm
better.
gonna drop off for a second. I'm gonna come back in a minute because I'm kind of doing a little double duty here. All right.
All
So
right.
you know, I just want to drop in on this because I got to get down with you brothers as well. But anyhow,
All right.
I'll see you guys in a minute. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
but yeah, but Dollar Will, what else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yo, Mike. Um,
Yes, sir.
I don't I don't know if I think the Nuremberg trials may be done, but anyway, I'll talk to you about that later.
All right, T.
All
uh,
right.
hey, Dollar Will, but you understand what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, I like
Yeah.
crypto, and I'm gonna ride the wave up. But if people are going to collect Bitcoin and just hold it, and they're going to be trading a high volume to the point where they don't have enough Bitcoin, if there's a quote unquote run on the bank, then it's going to be a lot of sugar honey iced tea hitting the fan.
Well, so you're saying that the demand for Bitcoin will outpace the supply? Is that what your concern is?
Yes,
Well, the
yes.
fact that the demand will outpace the
Oh
supply,
my
that's
God.
going to make the price go to the moon. So,
I
what
know
you
that,
want,
but
man?
yeah. I mean, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just put it on out there. I want, I don't mind it because, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. But you know, okay, I sound like the 1% here, but I'm gonna get rich,
Oh,
and
I am
people,
too.
and people who's gonna buy this thing like the week or the day before the bubble pop, I feel bad for them because if this go down as is, the demand, okay, it's hard coded. 21 million is hard coded. 4 to 5 million has already been lost, which means, and the other couple million has not been mined yet. The last Bitcoin is due to be mined in like 2140, the year 2140, like a century and 20 years from now. So the demand is going to outweigh the supply, and a number of people already own millions of Bitcoin right now. Like the Winklevoss twins own like 100,000 Bitcoin. So the demand is going to outweigh the supply. This is going to be a big bubble, man.
Absolutely. But in terms of who's going to get hurt when the bubble bursts, if it makes you feel better, the subscribers to the Black Brain Trust, the odds of that
Not going
happening
to.
to them is going to
It's
be,
very slim.
very reduced because we always preach on this channel, watch the charts, learn how to read a chart. And at some point in time, you have to make a decision if you're being greedy. Okay. When you get near the end, and we're going to, talk about that little later in this show about some other charts I'm going to bring up that, there's a point in time where the end is near and you know it. And people are just greedy, man. We want that last penny. We will lose the whole bag trying to make that last penny. So,
Well,
This is
you
gonna
know,
be. Go ahead, Mark.
if you're ever in doubt, make sure you consult with a CFP, a certified financial planner, or a CFA, a chartered financial analyst, if I remember correctly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm, mm,
That's right,
mm.
because I am neither, and I'm not responsible for your money. You get a certified professional, and Lionel will tell you about that at the end of the show.
Yeah,
You know,
CFP.net, because we are neither nor, and we are neither or nor. So go to CFP.net, and this is not a joke, people. I'm not making this up. CFP.net, certified financial planner.net, and you can put in your state, uh, zip code, and city. You can find one in your area, and also, like Mike V said, you can, not I say purchase. You can find a CFA, and they will better tell you about this new asset class that we're speaking about.
yeah, and when you learn, on your own, as you learn how to trade, it'll help you, have a better quality conversation with that professional. And if you find out that you know more about the charts than that professional, then you know you
Find
got
another
the
one.
wrong one. Right.
Find another one. But you understand what I'm saying? There's only a short number of bitcoins out there, and when that run on the bank happens, quote unquote run on the bank happens, it's gonna be a lot of egg out there on people's faces.
Uh, the thing about it, nobody alive, nobody alive was alive the last time we had this happen. So yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be bad,
We
man. This
don't
is gonna be
know. I
bad.
mean, it's going to be the worst thing that anybody alive has experienced. We know that.
This is gonna be bad, man.
And there's always something new. I mean, it's going to probably be like before,
And
and some new stuff that we didn't anticipate.
and this is a global current. Well,
Yeah.
a global thing. Oh, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be horrible, man. Oh my god. Okay, let's get
Some
tired.
people get rich, and a lot of people get poor, go poor. It's you know, one
Okay.
man's feast, another man's famine.
All right. This is gonna be bad. All right. Let's get to our last topic on the docket. This one comes from ccn.com. Public sale of Venezuela state crypto Petro to comments on November 5th. All right. With the Petro now officially launched, the public sale of the state-backed cryptocurrency will begin early next month. In a televised address on October 1st during Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announcement that the public sale of the Petro will kick off on November 5th, though he did not list names. Maduro oh my God, also indicated that the state-backed cryptocurrency is currently available on 6 international exchanges. Additionally, the state-backed cryptocurrency can be acquired using other established digital assets as well as popular fiat currencies. Excuse me. If you have bitcoins, you can buy petros. If you have ethereum, you can buy petros. If you have dollars or euros, you can buy petros. And from November 5th, the petro will go on sale to the Venezuelan public in sovereign bolivars, Maduro added. Android users only. A cryptocurrency wallet for Petro has also been made available for Android devices, with no indication when a version of the iPhone or iPad will be released. A new white paper for the Petro current cryptocurrency has also been published and is currently on a dedicated website set up by the Venezuelan government. While it was previously stated that Petro is backed by the vast oil resources in the South American country, the white paper acknowledges that other natural resources such as aluminum, diamonds, gold, and iron are also backing the cryptocurrency in varying proportions. Besides announcing that Venezuelans can now use the Petro to pay for goods and services such as accommodation, airline tickets, and real estate, Maduro also declared during his TV address that all Venezuelan oil will be sold in the state-backed cryptocurrency. This will offer the sanctions hit country. Wait, what? Maduro also declared during his TV address that all Venezuelan oil will be sold in the state-backed cryptocurrency. Okay. Okay. This will offer the sanctions hit country a way to circumvent the restrictions and possibly allow the other foreign countries, organizations, and individuals transact with Venezuela without fear of reprisals. Instrument of liberation. According to the Venezuela's agriculture minister, Wilmar Castro Soteldo, the Petro is a tool to reclaim sovereignty of the socialist state. The Petro is an opportunity for all global operators of cryptocurrencies and crypto assets to carry out transactions in the country without fear of persecution, because I believe it is an important instrument of liberation, said Soteldo. The official launch of the Petro comes at a time when the economic crisis in Venezuela is worsening, despite the government devaluing the country's fiat currency, the bolivar, in a bid to tame inflation. This has resulted in the citizens turning to cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoins, with the result being that the trading volumes of the Bitcoin bolivar pair keep reaching record highs, as CCN recently reported. Okay, I want to read that last one more time because it stuck out. Last paragraph. The official launch of the Petro comes at a time when the economic crisis in Venezuela is worsening, despite the government devaluing the country's fiat currency, the bolivar, in a bid to tame inflation. This has resulted in the citizens turning to cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, with the result being that the trading volumes of the Bitcoin bolivar pair keep reaching record highs, as CCN recently reported. Okay, it's interesting. So not just oil is backing this new cryptocurrency, but other natural resources, and they're going to obviously use it to circumvent the U.S. sanctions. This is interesting. Interesting. I'd like to see. I want to see how it works, and other people can buy it too, but I don't know what exchanges.
Yeah, if you're using the U.S. dollar, I think they talked about, you could be actually tracked down for this. So I would be cautious about using U.S. currency. But if you're a U.S. citizen, but the whole entire system is derived off the Ethereum blockchain as well.
Mm-hmm.
The other aspect is that they're talking about moving diamonds off of it as well as gold, and there's another
Aluminum.
natural resource that is very critical.
Mm-hmm. It also
I thought
mentioned
I heard that.
aluminum.
Yeah, aluminum as well, right? So this isn't like something that's going to be used strictly for oil, like most people had thought initially. I mean, oil is their biggest resource, but it's not their only resource. And I foresee this being a game changer going forward. I can see Iran being the next country to go ahead and do it. Turkey probably being the second, being the third, and in comes North Korea and probably Cuba.
Well,
Cigars on the blockchain.
you know what I'm gonna say. I'm Dollar Will.
Yeah, that will.
All of those daggone commodities they talking about are dollar sensitive. All of them are sensitive and react to the movement of the US dollar. So what's it really matter? I mean, in terms of people, I hear people talk about, pegging cryptos to gold or oil or some other, metal or commodity, with the implication being it's going to be stable. No, those other commodities and metals are not static. They all fluctuate.
No, but I think it's important to understand that the reason why they have to do this is because of the sanctions. They've been kicked off of the Swiss system, so anytime they need to do business, they cannot get their money into their country, and they can't get their money out of the country. And no private institutions or companies like HP and IBM, none of them can do business in Venezuela. So in order, as an alternative to get around all of this, the only way to actually do this would be a cryptocurrency that came at the right time in the right place.
So the thinking is to make, by pegging it to a commodity, that the currency, the cryptocurrency, will have some value as a whatever it is, but it won't have zero value. Is that the thinking?
It would have some stable value to it when they need to do business. So when they sell oil to China, they don't have to go through the same exchanges of the Swift system that the Americans, the British, and the Europeans are using to actually block these transactions. So once they put it on the Ethereum blockchain, that makes it almost instant that both parties get their payment, and that the commodity, the resources actually move.
Oh, okay. I think my problem is, or what I'm not understanding, is your use of the word stable. That's what's tripping me up. So, explain what you mean by stable.
Stable meaning that relative to their own currency, their currency is spiraled out of control. It has no value. It has the same value as toilet paper at this point.
Okay, you mean comparatively, relatively? Okay, in that sense. Okay, yes. So it's kind of like what I was saying before. If they're pegging it to the commodity, the commodity is always going to have some value. I mean, oil is always going to have some value, and in the other commodities that they say they're going to, I guess, create a basket. It's going to have some value. It's not going to, the value is not going to fall in the toilet like their fiat, if you will, like their fiat.
Yeah, but they can't trade it. They can't trade in their currency, which is the problem.
Right. I got that part. But by pegging it to a commodity, it even if they could trade their currency, it still is would be heavily devalued anyway.
Why would that be?
Because it's relative to, okay, their currency. I have to look at their currency, but I presume that it moves opposite the U.S. dollar. And a lot of these countries with relatively weaker economies, their currency volatility is greater. It falls more.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
And by the way, what's up, guys? So, initially, backed by itself, right? Now, is it so all of those things that you're mentioning, oil, all of it together, or how exactly are they saying it is right now?
So, in order to do business, in order for them to do business with other nation states that they were doing before, the exchanges have been closed off, right? So the sanctions have closed them off from the rest of society, from the rest of the economic world, right? So your G20 nations are all cut off from Venezuela. So obviously the alternative would be the cryptocurrency. So the cryptocurrency would be the medium of exchange to get access to their resources.
Okay, but I guess basically what I'm getting at is, if this is just is this just a medium of exchange where each Venezuelan petro is equal to a certain amount of oil, like 15 barrels is one of these cryptos, petro, or is it kind of like 5 gallons of oil, a gram of gold, 20 ounces of aluminum? and then all of that together, those prices, that's what is behind a single Petro. Does that make sense?
Right. From what I understand, it sounds like they're going to create an exchange that pegs all those resources to that crypto.
Oh, okay. Then that's a very then I guess to answer dollar bills, it's much more stable because any one of them, of course, are price sensitive to the dollar, but not all of them are price sensitive in exactly the same way. So it kind of gives them more breathing room, right? So if
Right.
the dollar moves in, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I agree, and I get that now. That the volatility is still going to be there, but the volatility is going to be reduced severely because it's going to be. Go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say they'll be able to predict their volatility better, more predictability.
Yes, and the extremes will be reined in. That. Yeah. But now,
this is really
as a trader, it's good. Following the dollar will still let you know, give you a good sense of when it's a good time to buy and sell their currency.
right. This is actually really good from a nation state perspective because we get a chance to look at it in real time to see how it's actually doing in reference to to the market sensitivity. But the last time a nation state decided to change their their use of the dollar relative to their oil that they move or their resources that they move, they were invaded in 2003 in Baghdad. So we'll see what happens, how long this could last for. That didn't last too long for Mr. Saddam Hussein. I believe he started changing it out in 2000 for the euro and dropped the dollar. So, I mean,
Well,
different time
Mike,
back then.
it already happened though with China doing the yuan-backed yuan-backed petrol and gold that they were doing. They haven't been invaded yet, but definitely Mike Pence, and John Bolton, they're beating the war drums for Venezuela.
Well, you're right about China, but what's happening to China right now is the tariffs. So that's the first phase of the war. Before, you didn't have to put tariffs on Iraq because you already pretty much had control over the oil. So the only agenda that you had on the table was to actually, to take them out militarily. They were weak enough to do it. China is a different story.
Right. You're right about that. But whether or not these tariffs will be effective, we'll see. Because I was just seeing today, I think, she was in Bolivia where they signed, I believe, if not a free trade agreement, but some kind of trade deal along with an aid package as well. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Maduro was actually in Beijing last week, just before the launch of the Petro as well, to sign agreements. So it sounds like he's getting backing over there. I know from sources on the ground that Russia was behind the building of the creation of the Petro itself for Venezuela. I don't doubt it. It sounds exactly right. Russia is a large OPEC member, so it sounds like Russia had a lot of invested interest in seeing how this works. If it works for Venezuela, then it's probably going to work for Russia. It's probably going to work for Iran, Turkey, and the rest of the eastern countries. So.
All right. Dollar Will. I just want to ask one more time. Just go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, this don't have nothing to do with the current topic.
Well, if it doesn't have anything to do with the current topic, let me just get through this then. I saw this article pop up this morning. mattress firm files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection will close up to. Sorry if you guys can't see it. Let me make sure I. Share my screen correctly. Okay, mattress firm files Chapter 11 for bankruptcy protection will close up to 700 stores. This is really big again. Brick and mortars are falling to the wayside left and right. We've been talking about this all year. With Toys R Us, some of the Best Buys. Radio Shack is gone now. Kmart. A lot of these stores are closing up, and what it sounds like to me is that Amazon pretty much destroyed a lot of these brick and mortars. I don't know what you guys think about this, but I find this to be a very interesting story at a very timely moment when I believe Trump has been running around the country talking about how many jobs he's created, but doesn't talk about how many of these stores are actually closing up. 700 mattress firm stores, as well as there's a lot of McDonald's that just closed up.
Really?
I don't know if you guys have been yeah. A lot of McDonald's have, I think, like 150 or 200 plus McDonald's stores have closed up.
Sears is on its last legs at the moment too. They're going to be next.
Yeah, well, Sears isn't even open in Chicago anymore.
No, they are closed in Chicago.
Oh, we have some Sears. They're really struggling, but definitely throughout the country, they're starting to start closing now, more rapidly. But they still have some fight here in the Midwest. I'm not sure why, but it just is what it is. But soon they'll be out as well. They tried a campaign of build kind of like franchising their Sears, but it doesn't look so far as having gone very well. So they're going to be in Chapter 11 or 13 soon themselves.
Well, yeah, I think they sold Craftsman. I think they sold Craftsman to a Chinese firm. So I think Craftsman is already done. Kenmore is on the auction block right now. You can buy. You actually, I think it was priced at $400 million.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Wow. Well, I think this is a case of the fundamentals catching up to. I'm not gonna say the fundamental. Maybe I hear what you're saying, Mike. Yes, possibly the fundamentals are catching up to the technicals. Okay, these folks read charts too, and they know we're at the top of this whole economic cycle. Not just the stock market, but the housing market is hurting, and if people. There's a relationship again. What's in homes? Mattresses. You buy a new house, people buy new mattresses. But back to the Amazon thing that Mike was talking about. I'm really surprised at how quickly people have gotten comfortable with buying certain things online. I always thought that, like clothes, people would want to try them on in the store. No, people have gotten comfortable with ordering it and sending it back. Or like a mattress, you're gonna want to go lay on the mattress. No, people are buying it. They're happy to test it out and send it back. I did not expect that to happen.
Right, and to speak on the fundamentals, the Australian economist, I forget his name right now. He predicted the 2008 crash almost like 5 or 6 years before, and he was drumming the beats as hard as he could to get people to pay attention. But guys like Paul Krugman were like, no, everything's fine. Another economist, very establishment, but he also is predicting that in the next few years that there's going to be another Great Recession style of downturn coming, and he's basing that mostly off of kind of the fundamentals of the economy and what's happening geopolitically.
When that Great Recession happened, I remember Chicago when you drive down any block, there were houses boarded up, just houses just boarded up. And it wasn't like one or two houses. It was noticeably, it was noticeable that you could see houses just boarded up. And um, car dealerships was boarded up, gone, torn down. So I wonder how worse this one is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I tell you, I'm not interested in buying any big ticket item, a house, car, none of it. This is not the time. It's just kind of spooky when the fundamental investors and the technical investors, when they both are suspicious, look out. Because they hardly ever agree. But I don't really hear a whole lot of optimism about for the long term health of this market. And
well, the way that this one could be worse is, during the last recession, they had TARP from what was that called? TARP that was passed by the Congress, which gave bailout money to the banks. But right now we've already had a $1.2 trillion tax cut, and they're pushing for a few more. On the fiscal side, it's about almost tapped out, and then on the side of the Federal Reserve, there's not really quantitative easing is also tapped out, right? There's nothing more that could be done in another recession, 2008 style recession. If that happens, there's not enough breathing room, right? I think right now it's at about 4% interest rates. So if they start, decreasing the interest rate, there's not much more that they can go beyond zero, unless we want to be kind of like Japan, Japan Central Bank, Bank of Japan, which has negative interest rates. Them and I believe also the European Central Bank is also at a negative. So basically, everyone's tapped out. There's not much more that they can do. So right now, this Feds are trying to increase the federal interest rates. I believe they want to do 4 more or 5 more times for next year. So they're trying to give themselves breathing room, but really there's not much they can do. And also another challenge with the Feds raising interest rates is that it takes about 18 months not 18 months, about 6 to 8 months for any kind of hike or decrease that they do for it to take effect in the economy, the larger economy. So those are the kind of the fundamental things that are happening right now that kind of point towards it getting worse than 2008.
Boy. So this recession could kick off in 2019, 2020 timeframe.
I've been hearing fourth quarter 2018. That's what I've been hearing.
that's why when at some point I want to get to a couple of charts, and it's confusing right now. It's scary right now. This week is scary. This past week has been scary. Okay,
right.
So.
And these kind of recessions, they're kind of like rolling waves before a tsunami comes, right? So they'll start showing up around, if it's going to happen in 2019, 2020, it'll start late 2018, first quarter 2019. But then you won't really feel the effects until it's too late, at third quarter or fourth quarter 19, early first quarter 2020. That's kind of what happened during the Great Recession as well. Things really start, not kick off, but the first warning signs were, I believe, fourth and first quarter 2006 and 2007, but it didn't really hit until almost 2008.
Oh boy. You got the church? Go ahead. Oh my God.
No,
So if you got a job, keep it. If you got a job, keep it. Don't get into no arguments. Don't get into no arguments with your boss.
What to say, Mike?
No, I was saying if you can get another job, get another one as well.
Oh
Get
yeah.
an additional job.
Yeah, don't get into no arguments with your boss. Take the L. You know.
Now me, okay, when I tell people this, you know, they as well as I know, I'm not a person in my past that, been doing this. So I'm telling them from, like, I don't have this expertise, my past expertise saying, hey, I predicted last recession, so I'm telling you about this new one. I'm just coming out the blue like, yeah, it's going to be a recession, so people are not listening to me. Yeah, it's gonna be hard
Well,
for
it's not just
people
the
out
lay people either. There's a lot of investors. Well, not investors, but people in the central bank and that kind of thing that are putting their heads in the sand. They don't want to see what's coming, or they know it, but they'll never say it out loud because if they say anything, it spooks the market, right?
Clean out that room with all that junk you got. That bedroom where you store all that junk. Clean that daggone room up. You might have to rent that room.
get rid of that storage locker
Yeah,
because
yeah,
storage fees going up. It's like $200. Get rid of that storage locker. Cancel them subscriptions that you really don't need.
yeah. Cut
Yeah.
cut
Yeah,
back
people
now. Avoid
are
the
having a
rush.
hard time. Yeah, people are having a hard time already getting more financing for mortgages now. Approved for mortgages now. So it's gonna be nuts coming. Coming in the next 6 months.
Start your windowsill garden. If Ulysses was on here, he'd talk about container farming. Yeah, you start getting into that stuff, reading about it.
So
You know,
this one's supposed to be worse.
Yeah, it's gonna be
nobody
worse.
alive has experienced this, man. Nobody, we can only read about what it was like in the the late 20s, early 30s. Nobody alive was there, So it's going to be worse than anything anybody alive has experienced.
So that means
You
years
guys will
of
start booking your tickets for Africa right now before it starts. So when it starts, you get on that plane. You out.
Well, you gotta get some money. you know, Make sure you have money.
Oh my goodness.
Personal safety. Think about personal safety.
Yeah.
This is
Don't
not
tell
this is not the time to floss.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Don't tell nobody you got this or you got that because they gonna remember that. Just or be that person like, man, I can't pay my bills this month. It's like start off now, like, man, I need this. I can't even get it. So when the stuff hit the fan, people like, okay, who can I get? I can't get on there. He told me he can't pay his phone bill 2 years ago. What makes you think? What I mean? Play the fool. That's what I'm trying to say. Play the fool. Play the fool.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
actually, there's one thing we didn't talk about is, well, once a recession starts hitting, a lot of the millennials and younger, they won't be able to pay even like the interest on their student loans. So if there's a huge rash of student loan, defaults, think what that could happen. What the consequences of that are.
The problem with student loans is that it doesn't really contribute to society at all, right? It's not like, oh, if you pay it off, this improves the government standing or something like that. These numbers that I mean, not the numbers, but these loans that they doled out were just magically generated inside of a computer. There was actually no money available. So when they issued out these loans, they basically issued you out a digital future, and there was never really anything there because they knew you were going to default on it. So if that's going to be the case, there is no real benefit to paying back these loans at all, other than the government wants to make money off you.
Well, yeah. So I guess so. You're saying that the choice, if you're saying if you can handle having a blemish on your credit report, if
No,
you're not if you don't have a guilty conscience about that, I mean, what are you saying, Mike?
no. What I'm saying is the government really doesn't benefit from people paying back student loans. It's not like it improves, it balances their budget. It doesn't do anything. It's really not necessary to actually have these people in such debt that they can't afford to buy a house or pay down the mortgage because they're too busy paying off a student loan. It doesn't make any sense. Just wipe out the student loans once and for all.
Well, I think that's when BGS has been posting those reports about the debt jubilee. That's what makes a lot of sense because at but we're not going to get to anything like that until after the pain is felt, okay? But in order, when we get to the point and they start talking about recovery, after the pain, the best way would be to take the pressure off of the millennials because they're going to be the ones clocking all the hours working, and if they got this weight on them, why would they buy anything? I mean, at some point, the country, once we, of course, this is when blood is in the streets, as we say, and they're going to want the market to recover. They're going to need those millennials to go out and buy cars and houses, but they're not going to do that if they got this debt over their head. And then, so if millennials don't go buy cars and houses, there's no way for the for the market to the economy to ever really return.
Right. A lot of millennials,
They
they're not getting married, and the ones who are moving in with one of the parents. So they're not buying, putting down mortgages. Down payments on their houses because they're using that money to pay off their student loans. So it depends on, I guess, what happens in this November, because there's been a lot of movement, especially on the Democratic side of student loan forgiveness, across the board. So if something like that would happen, that would definitely lessen any recession that happens because people will be able to use their money to go buy, cars and houses and food and whatever kind of, junk they want to buy, as opposed to, paying off this debt.
Pretty soon that the government's going to have to start subsidizing, these bird scooters being shipped to these people's houses. I mean, that's the only means of transportation they can afford.
No, the country's going to be the country's going to be in shape, man, because people are going to start biking to work. That's what I'm guessing.
Oh my God! Shoot, people don't afford to eat Harold's no more.
Not just Harold's, because they got these. I don't know if you guys seen it. I don't know if it's in your area, but there's this app, I guess, that allows fast food restaurants to give away their leftover food to homeless people or to hungry people. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be the new way for people to eat. People will be eating at 11 o'clock at night. That'll be the only time of the day they get to eat.
Man, that's messed up.
You know what? A good way to tell if it hit Black people, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Facebook. When you start seeing these posts and memes in Facebook, talking about whatever, that's a hit, man. It's they're starting to feel it.
Oh yeah, I got
it. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
You'll see people starting to create GoFundMe's and stuff. GoFundMe, I'm hungry. Like, instead of people standing outside begging for change at traffic lights and whatnot, and outside of stores. I mean, I went to the store earlier today, and this dude walked up to me and was like, you got $5 do I have $5 that I can spare for him? I'm like, usually a person asks for like a quarter, maybe a nickel, but $5 whole? Like, we're at that point now. Before you know it, people
man, combos at McDonald's are $10 now, bro.
Damn. $10. Shit.
No,
Well, you
you
can't
Yeah,
even
go.
get.
we should really check out the traffic and the metrics for these sugar daddy social media websites. I think that would be a good indicator of what's coming.
But I will tell you that it did in 2008, 2007, that declined down to 2009. Yeah, it definitely seemed to affect dating. People were acting, more cooperative.
Mhm.
People were definitely valuing having
Relationships.
having some resources and relationships. People just, they needed each other more. And
Fun
so
fact. That's
Right.
how McDonald's, well, the McDonald brothers, really grew, um, because of the depression. People need to eat, so a lot of fast food places were getting money, and they discovered a way, um, to stream everything, and that's when Ray Kroc, stepped in. But that's the McDonald brothers. That's how they got their big. They
No,
big.
I think that was the '70s recession, not the Great Depression.
No, 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 no. The McDonald's brothers,
Oh, okay, okay.
because Ray Kroc died in the 70s. So the McDonald brothers, he stole McDonald's from McDonald brothers, and they were telling him that during the Great Depression, that's when they saw a lot of their business get a lot of money.
I
Not
highly
before,
recommend.
during, and
I
until
highly
end.
rec- I highly recommend that movie on McDonald's with was it Michael Keaton? It's
Michael Keaton. Yeah,
very
I read
good,
the book
very
and
good
saw
movie.
I read the book and saw the movie, and it's pretty dead on.
Hmm. Oh, I think that I don't know if you guys mentioned this, but we're missing one more key part to this equation, which is a lot of cuts are coming or have already started for a lot of the social safety net, right? So a lot of people in the rural areas, Midwest, Trump country, it's going to be very, very difficult for them because most of their income comes from the government. Because there's not as many jobs uh, and things that they could do over there.
I know one thing: they better not touch mine. To be honest, I don't think they are, because mine's tied to the uh, military military budget, and they increased the military budget.
Oh no, no, they won't. I don't think they're going to touch that one. But I'm talking about just general welfare is what they're going to start cutting. If they, I think it would be political suicide if they started cutting, uh, veterans benefits. That won't
Oh, well,
happen.
they've
I think
been
there's
doing
like
that for a while.
Say what now?
really.
Say, Mike.
No, I was saying they've been doing that for a while. That's why you see so many homeless vets now.
I would say a lot of the homeless vets, sad to say, um, they hooked on drugs, like a lot of drugs. Um, yeah.
Well,
I
I mean,
think
there's
Uh,
no housing for them. There's no. What I'm saying is there's no housing for them either, right? So, I mean, the drugs are one thing you can point to, but what happens when you need to place them, regardless of their addictions? The
yeah.
government hasn't put any infrastructure in place to actually take care of all these people.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's I can say
for a
that.
long time.
Yeah, it's no housing for them, because I know at the one, I'm not gonna say Pacific VA. At one VA, um they get their they go there um for addiction, so they have them on drugs for the addiction, and when they done with their session, they just go home, and wherever home is. They don't like
Under a
go
bridge.
across. It could be anywhere. It could be a family member, sister house, brother house. It could be anywhere. They get dropped off. The transportation drop them off. So when they leave this session, they already high. So how functioning can they be? Yeah. And there's no housing, you know. You don't hear nothing about veteran housing.
You know what? If China can build 100 million housing developments and projects in China in 20 years, I don't see why the United States can't do it. You know, in the same time frame. You know, the United States has the money to do it. They just won't do it.
Mhm.
You just gave Israel the other day $38 billion for security, quote unquote. You know, how do you explain that?
Fiduciary responsibilities. The majority of these companies are for profit, so anything that some sort of act that would be of a benevolent nature that doesn't necessarily add to the bottom line or increase share price, they nix that plan. If it's going to increase the share price, if it's going to increase the bottom line for the shareholder, they're on board. If it doesn't, no go.
Well, I mean, you're out there in California, so I think you might know about Skid Row.
Jesus, do I? It's mostly populated with black men.
Exactly.
Yep.
At least 20,000 people out there. I think 20,000 people on Skid Row or something like that.
And I'd say a good 70 to 75% of them are black men.
Hmm. And in DC, I mean, DC has its pockets, you know, that where they kind of you know, put black people into, or black and brown people, I should say, into these places where, you know, kind of hide them away from the cameras that are pointed at the White House, so to speak.
Right. I mean, it's like that here in California too, man. It's, you know, well, I mean, this place has become, the gentrification is so apparent now that it's stark, actually. I mean, there really ain't hoods like that unless they're Latino. Like black hoods, no more. They're mixed, you know. So, pardon me, I'm walking into my pad right now. Give me just a second. I'm gonna mute up.
Yeah.
No, oh, go ahead, Mike.
Now, I was just going to say that in order to break down these blocks, they turn them into mixed income environments where they take, you know, a 60% subsidized housings, and then they sell off the rest of the 40%, you know, to your middle class and upper class people, and that's how they break down ghettos. I'm pretty sure they did the same thing in DC because I know they did it in Boston.
Oh, the place I saw that most aggressively was in Hong Kong. From what I've seen, I haven't seen any extremely poor areas because have a mixed income, or you know they'll be high so the people mix.
Yeah, you're borking, Noah, so you might want to get close to the router. But yeah, you're right, Mike. Yeah, it's happening. It's in process in DC, and I like the idea because you know that's, to me, I would like to see some data and see how it's working. But to me, that sounds like the best way to break up that prison culture. You know, where people. I mean, that's the problem with these quote unquote ghetto, which is a creation of America. Okay, you have a lot of people forced to uh, live in close proximity to each other, and too close of a proximity to each other. And so when you put a lot of people that are highly stressed into close proximity to each other, um, without enough space, you know, that like their dwellings where they live are smaller than say in the suburbs and stuff. It's just so it creates opportunities for you know, people to stress on each other. So and so when you have then you have that culture kind of perpetuating itself, the criminal culture, and then people go to prison. They come back to the same neighborhood. But if you and in that, we all know, in a ghetto situation, the criminals get to click up with each other, and they get to basically call the shots. But if you break that up and disperse them around the city, then they don't get to necessarily strangle the neighborhood and define the culture in the neighborhood. And I think that's
I
good.
think one of the you're right about that, and I agree with it. I think one of the key points, for new development that has to happen is that it has to be environmentally friendly or more geared towards not being so dependent upon traditional service utility services. You shouldn't have a building that has like 500 people in it but doesn't have solar panels on the roof. Like, that should be mandatory going forward. There should be no reason for you not to have green energy technology on top of these new developments. A lot of the time, people are, or I shouldn't say people, but governments are allowing these these landlords or these development agencies to come in and build on top of property or vacant parcels inside these black and brown neighborhoods for the sense of profit and not for the sense of housing, right? Like, if you're building traditional housing where it's supposed to have like it's supposed to cater to a certain demographic of people who are reproducing children, but in the statistics show that millennials are not even getting married. So who are you building these houses for? And why are you building these houses?
Well, that's the whole myth of, about the mystery and myth of the unemployment data. A lot of people are unemployed or underemployed. So it's a lot of childless, a lot of single people on assistance. It's just there's not enough gainful employment for everyone. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know in Boston, right? Some of the new developments I've seen, all of them have solar panels on the roof. Some of them have wind turbines, like multiple wind turbines on each corner of the roof. They're all like they have these energy efficient lighting inside, LEDs instead of these very archaic style bulbs in them. A matter of fact, I don't know any place in the city that doesn't have LED bulbs in them in terms of development. So I just think that when they build these new tenements, um, they're not thinking forward. They're thinking very, very backward, very simplified setups where it's almost like you're building for this 4 and 5 body or 4 or 5 person home, and like, millennials aren't having kids like that. So why are you doing that, right? You got people shacking up with each other, roommates. I've seen articles where people are turning their dining rooms into second and third bedrooms just to earn an extra income. It's crazy. It's just, it doesn't seem like anybody in Washington is paying attention to the numbers and what's about to happen based on what happened in 2008.
Cool. Can I before I would like to run through a few charts if this is a good time, and also it's good time.
It is.
Okay. Lionel, what was that question you wanted to ask earlier? Lionel. Okay, I'll get this started. Let's see, get my share going on here.
Hey, Dollar Will, real quick, I did want to. I was listening, man. I'm just now kind of settling in over here. I did want to follow up on what Mike was just saying. So out here in California, what you're finding is in a lot of the prime areas, I mean, a lot of the real estate's being snatched up to be used as Airbnb properties. You know, so there's sort of like this new sort of sublease market, right? Um, Temporary rentals,
Hmm.
you know, maybe anywhere from, 2 to 3 days to maybe a week or two time, right? If you look at, I'll have to maybe for like one of the following follow up discussions that we have, we'll have to find some studies maybe on how the hotel markets have taken how Airbnb basically has dipped into the hotel markets. So
Right.
yeah, that's another way to kind of look at what's taking shape out here, because you got people that are basically just turning houses into Airbnb properties.
Well, you know who's going to get stuck holding the bag as this economy turns down? It's going to be, we're talking about gentrification right now, but in a year or
Hmm.
so, that story is going to be about how these gentrifiers lost money.
Exactly.
That's
So
good.
sometimes you gotta let it. Sometimes you gotta let this shit happen, man.
Exactly. That's why I've made a lot of enemies, and I've been telling black folks all this time for these years. This is the way capitalism is supposed to work. What you complaining about? If you own property, sell. What you waiting on? That's what I was saying. Move to a cheaper area. You have to be flexible with this. It's not static.
Yep.
Prices change,
Definitely
and you
not.
you have to
Definitely not.
know when you are winning. And if you we got people in DC that bought homes for $115,000, and these homes are worth $600,000 and $700,000. I'm like, you won. Ka-ching.
Yeah.
Run
Hmm.
to the register. But there's a dual argument going on about, well, we're giving up our property to the white folks, and we need to keep the neighborhood. Look, whatever it is that's magical about us, it's in us. It's not the neighborhood. It goes with us wherever we go. Okay, if wherever city we move, that'll become the new happening spot where the culture is, because it's in us. So
This is true.
you sell the house, you go south or somewhere cheaper, and when the market tanks and is in the toilet, and the foreclosure rate goes up, and the housing prices return to mid 90s
Buy
1990s
it up.
level, then you
Buy it
come
up.
back and buy it. Then you
That's what they did in Cali. I heard y'all was talking about the like recession, depression, and all that kind of stuff. Man, look, there were two things going on in California when that recession hit. One, everybody losing their shit, and two, everybody who was smart buying it up for pennies on the dollar.
Right. Everything material has a price. It's the time to sell it. you know and so people fall in love with their properties like they fall in love with stock, and it's just material items.
It's just a material item. Yep.
There's a time to ring the cash register. But let me run through a couple of things here. See what else. Okay, can you guys see this stock chart?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
This is of course I'm going to start with the dollar, just to refresh everybody's mind. This is going back to whatever this date is down here. My eyes are going bad, folks. 1989. It actually goes back to 2000, but what's key is this low point right here in, what does it say? 1996, is that it? Something like that. 95, 96 right here. It's 1.11. That's we're looking at a chart of US dollar relative to the Swiss franc, and at $1.11 value for the dollar back in 1996. I believe that the dollar will not go above this point. Okay. Here's the low in 2011 right here. The high is here in, let me see, thing fell off the screen here. The high, I believe this is 2016. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like November. Man, I gotta get some glasses. Is that 2015? Looks like November 2015. Now I'm gonna go down to the daily and show you something. Kind of start from the outside and bring you on into the now, so we can get some chart reading going on here. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is that high point where we started the decline, and the dollar started to recover. Get into a little quick wave count. The reason I'm pointing this out, so we'll know when we talk about interest rate rise and gold, the downward pressure on gold, the point at which cryptocurrencies will become attractive. It's all related to the dollar finishing this run that it's on. So this is this peak right here, and so it did this ABC move here, and this bottom was February of this year, and this prior peak here we made a higher high right here in, God, I can't see. This is like May June with this peak right here. We made a higher high. That's good. So we had a retrace, and I maintain that we're going to go count. That's wave one in the count. I'm an Elliott wave practitioner, okay? So we're looking for a 5 count. I believe we're going to see 1, 2. Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right. So I said we took this high out. Now we're going to take this high out. So we got wave 1, we got wave 2, wave 3 is going to come a little bit above this. Okay. Then we're going to have a little retrace for 4. We're not going to take out this high, and then we're going to have a race to this blue line up here. This resistance. That'll be the 5 count. Now, exactly where we'll have to play that by ear, exactly the price point. But that's the theory of what's going on. And you can see that by the strength of this green right here. Let me zoom in so you can see it. Pretty strong. Like, this section here, not much red, not much down days. Okay, we're hitting another one of these strong points, and we're going to take out this high and continue on to make we're in wave 3 right now, and I would take this to the bank. We have a lot to go, so I just charted out a 5 count for you, and we're in 3 of the count, so we got a good ways to go. And so the interest rate has all of that time to continue going higher. Okay, just scanning quickly through some other things. I just put up a thing of Exxon here to show you what's key about right now. This decline started in 2014. I just put this resistance moving average, and we're right here on it. We're right here on it. This candlestick here did not make a new high. Let me make this thing a little bolder.
Hey, Dollar, when you finish this explanation, I got a question for you.
Sure, go for it now. That's all I really wanted to show, is that the question for oil right now is this what we call a resistance going to hold, or is the price going to go south? We're looking now on a monthly chart. Okay, so that's in the days and weeks to come. That's the story. I maintain that since oil has an inverse relationship to gold, to the dollar, I'm of the camp that believes that we're going to see oil reverse, and that dollar strength is going to be the reason that's going to make it reverse. And I believe that we're going to take out this low here. Okay, so it's going to get ugly. But go for it. What's your question?
I was just going to say, because I've looked into what you talk about in terms of Elliott wave. Mm-hmm. So each one of those waves, right? So one wave, that's like a cycle, right? It goes.
Yeah.
Does it start on the up, or does it start on the down and go up? Like, where does the beginning of the wave start?
The low. If we
at
talking
the
about
low.
the low or the high, like in this case, this would be the start
That
of the
would be the
down.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so
Gotcha.
then you
Okay.
got sub wave counts inside of it. It's like so
Mm-hmm.
inside of this you have like micro counts inside of that, and I'm trying to figure out a way to demonstrate this on this channel without making it too complex. But I will say, like you just said, you put in some time on your own to look at it, and that's what other people have to do. You really have to dive in, and it's a lot of good information that's free out on YouTube, but you have to dive in and practice it. It's not neat and perfect. I'm going to tell you, it's not completely exact, but
And
it's
that was going to be part of my next question, because those waves, they're not specific set. They're not predicated upon like a set amount of time, right? Like each wave is like 10 years or something. This is all going to be largely based on market activity, right?
Correct. But if you look at it over long periods of time, like 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years, it's incredible
You see
how
those,
you
yeah.
see it. You see it. It's too, how can I say that? It's too organized in order to just count it all up to randomness. And okay, maybe it is random. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. People in the market believe in this. And so maybe just the fact that traders believe that is true, maybe we make it true because we believe it.
Well, I was going to say,
It
isn't that
could
kind
be.
of like the nexus of a truth? Is those people believing in it, making it real?
Okay, yeah, as a man thinketh. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
but so that's but now that said, that's why we don't just use say Elliott wave theory. I use what I study Elliott wave theory, candlesticks, and price action. But I would say mostly Elliott wave theory and candlesticks. So when you start to see like a reversal, let me go down to a daily chart on this. I like looking at monthly charts because it gets all the squiggles and stuff out, and all the false cues. Okay, so you see, so this is that peak, and it's coming down. So what I like to do is I find a key point, like you can kind of see that this would be a count. It came. Let me see. The best way I like to do it, because it is a little confusing, and you can't really just go by one thing. That's why you see me with the stochastics down below, because I have to have different ways of looking at this thing to really feel comfortable with it. I'm not just counting these waves and going to the bank with it, because it's not. It's fuzzy math. Okay. Now this low here is. Ah, dang, my eyes are bad. If anybody, whatever this is like the 15th of August. So the first thing for this Exxon is this trend line gonna hold? Okay, so now you see I had this big diagonal one from 2014, and it seemed to die right there at it, and it's going south. Now if it breaks this trend line, that's more ammunition that we're going lower. So you just kind of okay, then you got this low. Does it make a lower low? Okay, in this count you got 1, 2, 3. Okay, is this low going to hold? Okay, then is this low going to hold? And so over time it keeps making lower lows. You have to go, duh, we're trending down. You have to just change your bias. And so what I like about technical analysis, it forces you to adapt to what you see on the chart and not your belief about what is happening. You go, because the market is smarter than all of us. This is real people trading real money for reasons that are not really apparent to us at this moment. So what technical analysis says is, okay, forget the news headline. This is the way the money is moving. We don't know why the money's moving this way, but this is the gospel. Until
Right.
there's money,
Right.
until people put their money where this is people putting their money where their mouth is. They're saying right now, if it takes out this low right here and breaks this trend line, we have to say, wait a minute, something is funky. Something is funky. What were you going to say, Mike?
No, I was just going to say it's also relative to what is happening at the time as well, like what event took place that exactly created that trend, because it doesn't just happen by itself. It's also being triggered by events in the political and public spheres.
Yeah, that's the big debate. You have the fundamental analysis camp. They are mostly event based. Then you on the extreme of that, you have the technical purists like me. I say those events are coincidental.
You don't see them as being intrinsically linked?
No.
Really?
No, I don't. Again, I'm an extreme. I'm on the extreme.
Oh, because I kind of see it. I see it both. I see it like both what you're saying. So
right.
I'm kind of taking the technical analysis. That's why I asked you like those questions about like the real technical aspects of it, not necessarily your belief, but how you interpret like the Elliott wave theory as it is as a theory, right? And then there's also the things that we talk about, say like from a geopolitical standpoint, industrial standpoint, all these things that do happen. And we can also see market movements, price movements, and all that stuff reflected in that too. Like Tesla, for example, with the whole Elon Musk thing, with him getting kicked off, getting booted as chairman and all that stuff, and then stock price shoots up. So I see things that happen, and I see a reflection or of those activities. But then on the technical side, if you remove everything, you still have to analyze how money is being moved. And that's where I'm with you on the technical side. It's like, okay, well, damn, what's ever going on, money's going to be moving regardless. Understand it.
Yeah, see, I don't beat the drum that people should see it the way I do, because no matter where you fall on that spectrum, there are brilliant people out here that see it just the way that you do. So everybody got like ample data to, and an army of people to prove that, they could like back up their point of view, But I'm of the camp that believe that people are responding to the market. Corporations read charts too. McDonald's laying off closing all these stores. They know how to read charts too. And they're closing those stores to reduce losses because they know they're going to have to eat some losses. So they're going to...
Man, they're closing stores. They're automating. They're doing everything that they can.
They're getting lean now. They're trying to reduce the bleeding. They know they're going to bleed now. And your big stores like McDonald's and Walmart, they can survive. Some smaller stores, they're either going to get bought out by some big stores, or they're just going to go out of business altogether. So the big stores, your Amazons, they're going to be buying more stuff. Apple's got to do something with all this money that they have. They're going to have to eat up, or buy up some stuff. But I maintain that companies read charts too. And when I would say whatever you believe, if you believe that fundamental analysis or news events drive stock prices, I'm saying I challenge you to challenge your theory. Look at the industry that say Tesla was in and see if the whole industry moved up. Now tell me, what does the guy from Tesla getting fired have to do with another company in that same industry, their stock price behaving the same way? So see if that stock behaved aberrantly. If it was aberrant to its industry, then I would believe that it's event driven, but it doesn't. It isn't. And as you get into Elliott wave theory, you're gonna start, getting pretty good at calling the end of a wave and the beginning of a new one, like a little mini reversal, like like this little down move and this up move. You're going to notice there'll be some event that happens right around this time where technically you already have conditioned yourself to expect the stock to rise, and then some news item will happen with that company, and people will say that the thing rose because of that, and you're like, wait a minute, I already was expecting that. Technically, I'm looking at my oscillators, and everything says that it was due to go up anyway.
Right.
So on one end,
it was in that instance, it wasn't necessarily predicated upon the news.
well, that's for me. Now that's my opinion. Now the people who are not technical traders, the fundamental trade, they maintain that it rose because of the news. For example, when the interest rate decision came out, was it last Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
I think the interest rate, I think the dollar went down. The market moves opposite than what they thought it should, because the market is doing the technical thing. Then on Thursday, the market responded the way that it should when the interest rate goes up, because the market is not responding to the news. The market is creating this is my point of view. Okay. If anybody listening, if your point of view is different from mine, it doesn't mean that you're wrong and I'm right. Okay. This is just the way I see it. I see that we take our umbrella because it's raining outside. It's not raining outside because we thought I took our umbrella. Okay. That's just the way I see it. They know. Everybody, if you're running a Fortune 500 company, you know much more than Dollar will about how the dollar impacts the macro economy, and especially the industry you're in. They know that far better than I do. And they already have plans made about what they're going to do if the interest rate goes beyond a certain point or the dollar does a certain thing. So, but anyway, that's really all I wanted to show about Exxon. It's just to kind of pay attention to this activity around this resistance, and we see that it is going down. I'm sorry. What is this little note from this is investing.com, and they have nice little technical analysis tips that they give you. And this one is called Three Black Crows, bearish reversal, reliability, high reliability. Okay, so they're even saying that this thing is something to be concerned about, this downturn. So, but I'm just watching to see if this trend line breaks. If this trend line breaks, then you got to look here. If this is taken out, people are going to freak out. Because now even I could put another trend line here, then we'd have a triangle, and you break that, and this, you have all this automated trading out here going on, these computers that are programmed to notice when the price makes a lower low, when the price crosses a resistance, a support like this. And so these computers are programmed to do the same thing that we're doing right here. That's why a lot of times it'll go through this, it'll pick up speed. These are computers programmed to say, wait a minute, that shouldn't happen. And they just sell. The computer is programmed to just sell and figure it out later. They don't even know. They don't stop. The computer is not programmed to go, well, why is it going down? No, it crossed the line in the sand, sell. So,
right. It's built with, right. The applications are built with thresholds.
Right. And let's see, let me just move on down to the next thing I want to take a look at. This is the S&P 500. I was wrong earlier this year, and it has left me in a confused state right now. I have a trading buddy. We were talking on Facebook earlier today, and he's confused too. We're trying to figure this out. We both have been trading technically for 10 years. Prior to 2008, I was a fundamental trader. Okay. Okay. So we both kind of got into technical analysis around the same time. And what got me into technical trading is when that decline started happening, and that's decline from 2008, 2007 to 2009. No fundamental guru gave me any guidance that helped me. None. And I said, I don't trust them. And I know that, so I started asking the right questions. And the right question to ask was, if I'm losing, who's winning? Okay, the people that are winning, what do they do? What's their philosophy? And I started noticing that all of the people that were winning were technical traders. I said, now wait a minute, I need to know what they know. And the more I got into it, I realized that those are the smart people. Those are the real people who know. And so I just said, look, I'm going all the way with this. All right. So we got this rise right here from 2009. This is the S&P 500. I really thought this was the end of the count. I thought we had, let me put a line here to show you. I was wrong. I was wrong, but now I'm confused. Now I will say, you'll see some people draw their lines and they'll put the line like at the body, the fat part of the candlestick. They will ignore that little, the wick. There's no right or wrong way. Whichever way you do it, be consistent about it. That's my rule. You'll find people doing it both ways. I'm saying don't be arbitrary about it. That's the rule. Now I thought that the wave count was 1, 2. Now you'll see inside of here, I don't see no 5 count. I'm just talking about from here to here. I don't see no 5 count. I see a 3. 1, 2, 3. Then it did that. Now see, that's not supposed to happen according to Elliott wave theory. So it's not exactly perfect, okay? But anyway, so I call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I thought this was it. But it came down and made a new high. Now, here's why I'm confused. When it made that new high, usually we go what we call a Fibonacci extension higher. Go to like the next Fibonacci extension. It doesn't have to. So you go sort of like, oh crap. Do it this way. I'll put it there. So this is like, what's that? 5. I talked to Mike, the math guy, the computer guy. PHI 5. The golden mean. Do some research on Google. Look up the golden mean. It's like, this. It gets into some spookiness, but it's a mathematical formula that apparently goes way back to ancient times, even to the construction of the pyramids. But it is the basis of a lot of technical analysis, especially including the Fibonacci extension tool that we're using right here. And what it is the space. The Fibonacci numbers is 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So it's like adding the two numbers to the two previous numbers to create the next number. Like 2 and 3 equals 5. 5 and 3 equals 8. 8 and 5 equals 13. 13 and 8 is 21. And you go on.
Oh yeah, the golden ratio.
There you go. And that ratio, the way you get the next number is to take the number.
The two previous ones and add them, or is it add them together?
Yes. Or you could take any number and multiply it times 1.618. and that gives you the Fibonacci extension. So when you see people on TV telling you where the next price support or price resistance should be, all they did was add a Fibonacci extension, and they multiplied it times 1.618, and they made it sound like it was so, mysterious, But you guys listening to the Black Brain Trust, and I just pulled the curtain back and let you see the wizard. See the wizard pulling.
Oh my!
It's not that deep, okay? All right.
I'm not even, dude. I just literally had a fucking breakthrough right now, dog. I'm sitting there, I'm listening to you, and then as soon as you started talking about the gold, oh wait, like the golden ratio, and then you're like, yeah. So you just take the two. I'm like, that's it.
That's it. Duh.
Man, let me mute, man. Let me shut up.
So you got these guys on TV looking like like they went to MIT to figure this out. And when you learn it, you're like, it makes you angry. You're like, somebody could have told me this. I could have learned this in the 8th grade.
It's nothing. If you can add numbers, right, you can figure this out.
Right. So when you make a higher high, usually what happens is you take that low, it made this high, it came down to this low. I got the Fibonacci tool. You see at least what the next level is. Is this exact? No. It generally is close though. Pretty close. Now what's scaring me is this. Okay, we have a peak right here. And the high is 28.7. Look at the high. Look at the high here. 28.72.87. Now, so when this was the peak, let's see, before all of this down here happened, when we were just at this point in time, this price high this was the all-time high in the S&P 500. And this high became resistance. So I thought we were going to come up and have a fake out and then keep going south. But no, we made a new high. Now, once you break through a prior high, resistance becomes support. So in theory, price not supposed to come below that. But it did.
Okay.
Not only that, what we have here, let's see, what's this low? This low is 28.64.12. And this low is 28.69. Okay, that's good news. Okay. What I was looking for was to see if we have an engulfing candlestick, and that would mean this fat part of this red section of this candlestick did engulf this green, and so that would tell you that the sell pressure is great, and it's like decidedly opposite this previous candlestick, and so that tells you that this uptrend is in trouble. So that's a little concerning, and the fact that the low on this red candlestick came below this low here. Let's look at this high again. This high here is 28.72.87. This low right here is 28.69. That technically, it should not have encroached below that. So it's a little strange. So I'm a little suspicious. I'm also looking down here on my stochastic, and we're looking on a monthly chart. On my stochastic tool, the fast line crossed below the slow line. It's going to take some serious upward pressure to make this thing keep going higher. And we're already in the overbought area, if I'm looking at this right, because this is anything above like 80 on here is overbought. That means you're in dangerous territory for it to go down. Let me see.
You're speaking specifically about that area where there's overlap.
Yeah, now I'm down here at the bottom of my stochastic. So I'm trying to show a confluence of things. It's not just counting the 5. You're looking at a lot of things. I'm looking at my stochastic, how this little line crossed over, and it did a crossover when we were already above 80. So that's a sign that it's called overbought.
Okay.
We're overbought. Now, so we got this suspicious move. We got this big fat red candlestick. Now we're on the monthly chart, and this is the candlestick for the month of October. Today is October the 5th. This candlestick is for the entire month of September. Why am I looking at a fat red candlestick with only 5 days of trading activity?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Yeah, so that's telling it's something building.
Yeah.
This is real selling activity.
Like literally, like you're talking about literally at the start of October.
Yes, and we've
for 5 days. We're 5 days in, and that it's all been that red candlestick
already
right there.
Killed the body. That's the green part. The body for the month of September.
For the month of September, right? I can see because it's already fatter. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
And we got this crossover right here. So technically, that's an alarm for me. Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but it's scary. This is freaky.
I see it.
So I'm confused now because why isn't it going up to here? So do you hold on right now and lose money saying it should go up here? Or do you start putting lines in the sand and you start saying, okay, if it makes a new low.
5 days in the red.
Yeah, that's scary.
Now that I'm thinking about it, right?
Let me put I don't really use volume, but I should. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm trying not to use, clutter it with too much stuff, but let's see what volume is. Volume is gonna tell us something about, where is it? Did it come up? I ain't seen nothing come up.
And this is the S&P. All right.
Maybe I gotta throw that one out. Sometimes they limit how many indicators you can use. They want you to pay for it. So, oh no, it's here, but it's not. I don't see a graph. I'm supposed to see a graph on the chart. But anyway, it's supposed to be showing me a graph on this chart of like candlesticks of like trading volume, like how many transactions happen that day. So if we would see a big red spike on the let me try this other thing.
That is concerning, man. I'm looking at those two, that green one for September and the red one for October, and we're only 5 days in. That's concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I still don't. This volume. So this site is not. They're not providing the data. So they might have something wrong with their server or something. They're not giving the data for the volume. But if you go to another site somewhere and you see volume, what you're looking for is you want to see if the red volume bar, which corresponds to October, if it's bigger than the green ones before it. Because that would tell you that the sentiment has absolutely turned. Okay, big money is leaving, and it's leaving like the house is on fire. Now, if you in the building and the house is on fire, you don't stop to go find out why.
You get the hell out.
You get the hell out. Okay, and so so in technical analysis, we're not concerned with why. Fundamental analysis is concerned with why. We don't care why.
We get the hell out.
That's it, exactly. And even when it's at the bottom and it starts to rise, we don't care why.
It's what the technicals are telling you, right?
Yeah, technical is follow the leader. Don't be the last one. It's like playing duck, duck, goose when you were in kindergarten. Okay, you just don't want to be it. You don't want to be the last one. Okay, and we'll find out later why. Okay. All right. So that's basically that. I don't really know what's going on with this. I'm watching it. It's freaky.
Can we circle back to this? Can we touch back on this next week? Because that'll be another 7 days, right?
Yeah.
So we can kind of time mark this on the 5th, and then we can see what happens here on the 12th.
Right. And now I'm into a daily chart from the monthly one. Now you can see there's some serious red.
Oh,
it's just gone. So, and this is the January peak right here. So what I'll what I would likely do is put another trend line, because I know that these what the computers are doing. The computers are looking for this. If violate that, we got a problem. Okay, I mean, you don't want it. The more touches you have of a trend line, the more susceptible it is to being broken. Okay, now you could count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be.
You could technically,
It
yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah. That's true.
And so it's you will also see on some Elliott Wave theory sites, they will show. Let me go back to monthly for a second, just to show you what they'll on get into this. Actually, maybe I don't need monthly. Maybe let me try weekly. Basically, what I'm trying to show is they'll show that sometimes week. They say wave 1 and wave 5 are about the same, not exact, about the same length. And so, okay. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna say, so if I'm calling this wave 1, let me see. You could do it that way, or let's see, it's whack. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be about, not exact. Look, y'all are doing this in real time with me.
No,
So
you good, man. You good.
We got it this 100 point up to the 0. Okay, so I'm just doing just the fuzzy maths and measure it. I just want to know. So I'm taking this 100 point, putting it about when this thing starts. Maybe that's about it. And you see, it's close to damn enough, ain't it?
It is actually, yeah.
So, and as you read more about Elliott wave theory, you'll see on sites they'll say that wave 1 and wave 5 is about the same. In this sense, height. Same degree they would call it, and this is close enough. And so it meets the rule. It's just that this new high here is the fake out, because this was I want to say was supposed to be the high, but no, it is what it is. This was supposed to be the high because the market made this the new high. People wanted the market to make a new high, made a new high. But it doesn't look like they're going to. Maybe, I don't know. Can it sustain it? That's the question.
Right.
If not, if it breaks this, alarms are going to go off in these these automated, as we always talk about automation on this show, these automated trading bots, they're going to sell. They're programmed to sell. So people that are shorting the market, when the price made a slight little rise right here, they jumped in and they shorted. They're relying on those automated systems to issue sell orders so they can make money.
So they can make yeah.
Okay. So earlier we were talking about futures and options, and that's what they're looking at in those. We're talking about options and futures. That technical analysis is really driving all of that, and everybody's trying to work with the trading bots. You want those automated systems to work in your favor, to work for you and not against you.
I mean, you would think that that's going to be like the pervading thought, right? Because those high-speed trading computers, like they're processing thousands of trades a second, right? You're really, it's kind of incumbent upon you to sort of ride what the high-speed trading platforms are doing. And then just siphon off. Right. Okay.
And that's why you have to know some basic rules of technical analysis to know how the system is gaming you, so that you can game the system.
Yeah, because I would hear that. I would hear that argument where people be like, well, why get into the stock market and all this and all that? I mean, it's just computers that are trading, and it's like, okay, people still make money though.
Yeah. Now look, if people that are long only, perma bulls, if you look at a chart of the Dow Jones since 1930, it looks like Superman took off. They mostly right, okay? But there are times when the market has to make severe corrections. This might be one of these times. We're in the area for it. We were there in January. So that's where all the pessimism is coming from on TV, because they know how to read charts too. They're looking at 100-year charts just like me. Okay. You know, I mean, for I guess about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was telling people, look, I look at 100-year charts, and they were like, well, that's too much information. That's too much. I think you're being a little going overboard with it. That's what folks used to say to me. But now what do you see? You see everybody bringing up a chart, and they go all the way back to the Great Depression and show you a 100-year chart. and I gloat. Of course I gloat.
Because everything, I mean, is it typically the Great Depression is sort of used as like a reference point, right? For like when things were the worst. So that's always going to be like a reference point.
Well, I'm gonna say it this way. Since you've been reading a little bit on Elliott wave theory, we know there's 5 wave count, and the 2 big quote corrections is 2 and 4. You got wave 1 is north. So basically, all your odd number in the wave count 1, 3, and 5, that's going up, and your even number 2s and 4, that's going to be down. Now, and according to my count, what we call the Great Depression, that's wave 2.
Gotcha.
What we're getting ready to go through, or maybe already going through, is 4.
4, and that's why they look at 2 or the Great. Okay.
Yes.
I follow.
Because the DNA of 2 gonna tell you about the DNA of 4. Okay, and the way presumably the way the economy responded in wave 2, that's what it's going to do in wave 4.
Right.
So let me move on down. Let's see what we got here. I don't need to do this. This is the Dow doing the same thing. This is the January peak, and it doesn't look as nasty as the S&P, but it did encroach upon the peak of the January high. Okay. Now, keep in mind, the Dow is mostly it's industrials. It's going to be a little bit more dollar sensitive than the S&P, but they both are, because the S&P 500 has stocks from every industry. It's like 26 major industries in the economy, and something like that, 20 something. And the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies representing those industries. So the S&P 500 represents the entire economy, basically. The 500 largest companies representing every industry. Yeah, correct. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's all in there. It's all represented. So that's why they always look at the S&P 500 to see the health of the companies in the economy. All right.
Right.
So I don't really need to get into the Dow, but I want to cheat a little bit and bring up the small cap. Let's see, IWM. Now, when I say cap, market capitalization, that is, let's see, what is that? That is, if you were to take all of the money invested in a stock, think of market cap as how much money has that stock attracted? How much money is actually invested? How much of the money in the marketplace is directed to that one stock? And Apple is America's market cap leader. Apple has attracted, there's more money invested in Apple
in that stock,
than any other stock in America. There's something like about 5,000 stocks in our stock market. And perennially, the market cap leader was Exxon. And it told you, really like signals how important technology is when Apple became the market cap leader. When Apple overtook Exxon, that was huge to me. It's like a computer company has a higher market
Right.
cap
Than
than
an
an
energy
oil
firm.
company.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me my thing. I had to redo this, bro. I just want to show you the small cap because a lot of now people that day trading the penny stocks, a lot of those some of those penny stocks or micro caps and small caps, they in this index. So there are people that you can buy an ETF that represents the S&P 500. That would be the large cap. Or you can buy an ETF that represents mid cap, or you can buy this IWM symbol, and you would be buying all of the small caps. The small caps move a little faster. They're a little more volatile, meaning their moves are more radical, up and down. So you can make more money. The chart didn't come up. Let me try this again. What I'm trying to, when I get this, what I want to show you, the small cap has been weird. This thing has been falling since August. Now, another reason, the reason that brings up the point why we place such a significance on the large caps. People presume that the large caps are safer because they are large caps. They got a lot of money there.
Yeah, a lot of money in it, right?
Okay, the smaller caps like your penny stocks and your there's small cap and micro cap. Both small cap and micro cap are presumed to be the risky company. So when bad times come, they don't
Those
have
will be
a
the first
stack of.
ones to fall.
They're gonna
Right.
be the first ones to fall. They're gonna be the ones that's likely to go out of business. They're gonna be the ones that's likely to get bought out by a bigger company because they're not sitting on a fat wad of money to be able to survive the tough times. They're gonna be the ones to lay off all their staff and all of that. So now it's great working for these startups when things are great, but when times get tough, the startups,
You're the first to go.
you're the first to go. So if you work for a startup, save your money. Don't don't wait for them to tell you to leave. If you can find you a job with a bigger, safer company, you might want to look at it. So the peak here is in okay, this looks like the end of September. So yeah, okay. So it wasn't. So that would be like the in August, like 29th. If you guys can see this at the bottom.
Yeah. You see it.
Yeah. This thing ain't stopped, and it made a lower low.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is concerning me. I'm a little, and it made a lower low below this, and it even came below here.
Yeah.
It's
the blue or the green.
Yes. So this is freaking me out a little bit. So, I mean, I don't even really need to put no trend line on here. We can see it broke it.
Yep.
We can see it broke it. And they gave you a little warning on this site. And they told you that's calling falling 3 methods, bearish continuation, reliability high. Okay. So that's why I like this site, because they teach you along the way. And so they might say it's high reliability, and you get to watch it and see if what they're saying, how it pans out. And over time, through your experience, you go, okay, whenever I see them put up this indication, it's been true. And so then you can develop your own opinion based on your own personal experience about how much you trust some of these technical signals. So that's really kind of it about why I'm really paranoid about this market. I was humbled when we made the high above January, and now that it's turning around and going south, I'm just confused.
You're just like, man.
I'm just confused, okay? But I'm not sitting here rooting for the market to go higher. Personally, I'm invested in something that shorts gold. That's where my money is. So I mean, none of this really affects me. But I still,
it's still an indication of where things could potentially be headed, right?
Yeah, because I get calls from friends and family. Hey, what's going on, man? What you think? And so it kind of makes me have to stay current on it. Let me give you guys a screen back. But that's. I'm sorry, I don't have anything definitive to say other than
What are you talking about, man? I mean, dude, you just dropped a load on fools today, man. I mean, you know, a lot of what you talked about, man. You gave the fundamental elements on how to read this stuff and what to look for and how to look for it.
So during the week, what I a good show to watch. I like to watch CNBC. Again, I don't make my decisions based on what they say. Sometimes I'm laughing at them. Okay, but this good information. Kramer has very good information. On what's it called? Mad Money. Mad Money.
Yeah, Mad Money.
Mad Money comes on at what time? 4 o'clock. I think it's 4 o'clock. I think yeah, Eastern. I think 4 o'clock Eastern. Mad Money CNBC. And then there's a show. So Kramer is a fundamental investor who has learned to embrace the technicals via the School of Hard Knocks. he used to laugh at it and call it hocus pocus until that decline in 2009 happened. And
didn't he get caught with his pants down during that time?
Well, he was right in his call about the bankers taking too many risks. And so he was right in his call, but in that same period, he was not endorsing the technicals. He has since found new religion, and he incorporates technicals on his show. I think every Tuesday, but watch, and he's good, and he brings in expert chart readers too, and they're good. But his fundamental analysis is very good also. I have several of his books. His books are very good. Remember, I used to be a fundamental trader, so I'm glad to see that he came around and got into the technicals. Now, there's another show called Fast Money that comes on after that.
I've seen Fast Money, yeah.
Yeah, and that show is what the title suggests, Fast Money. It's about trading. It ain't about investing for the long term. No, this is how to
flipping.
How to make fast money, okay? And these guys are chart readers, and they get a little bit more on the technical. So with Kramer, you're gonna get some fundamental, good fundamentals and good technicals, but more fundamentals than technicals, but the quality of both is good. But on Fast Money, you're going to get more technicals and less fundamentals, but more technicals. And so if you want to do your own charting and you read this stuff on your own, and you don't want to just listen to Dollar Wheel, don't just listen to Dollar Wheel. Turn on the TV and listen to what they say, listen to what I say, and write down what you think from the charts. And over time, you're going to get to a point where you're going to know that you're going to see that you're just as competent at making these projections as they are.
It's a very weird thing, man. Because sometimes I'll be watching news articles and clip stuff, and I'll listen to them talking. Just from all of the discussions that we have and stuff, I'm sitting there in my head chiming in on the conversation, but y'all ain't factoring in this, and then 2 minutes later somebody brings it up.
Right.
So, yeah. No, absolutely.
Right. Well, that's all I got. We lost Lionel.
Yeah, we did. We got Noah back.
Yeah, I talked Lionel off the show. I went on too far too long. Sorry, Lionel.
Yeah, I think Lionel left an hour ago.
Oh, wow. See, y'all got to stop me, man.
Nah, man, it's all good, dude. This is good info, man. Good stuff.
Well, I turn it over to Mike.
Yeah, I got a couple articles that I guess I can bring up real quick. Let me see. Or maybe I might want to save them for next week.
I mean, if you want to cut it short, man, save it for next week, you can do that.
We got to 11:30. I think I can squeeze
okay.
in, I can squeeze this one in. interesting. Actually, that's just about it. Yeah, that's just about it. I think we covered all the articles I had on a docket.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted to chime in about Venezuela, because I didn't hear your response.
No, I didn't even. I got on late. I got on a little bit late, man. I was out working, so I was in traffic when I got on the onto the hangout. I was listening to you guys. So I'll just go. I'll go and listen to the playback, and then you know when the topic does come back up, I'll be a bit more informed.
All right. Noah, you have anything?
No, not at the moment. I have a few articles I want to send you guys, but well, we can save that for next time.
All right. I think Dollar Will's all set. I'm all set myself. I've covered all the articles I need to cover. See if there's anything in the chat.
Are they your hair?
Devin's like, let's hear the articles. No.
Yeah, we're keeping articles kind of short. I think 8 was a lot. I think 5 for me.
Yeah, because we discuss each one, at length. So yeah.
It usually takes the hangout way over its time limit. So
yeah.
Well, I guess I have one question for you guys. I don't know if you saw Elon Musk, after he got sued by the SEC and they almost wanted him to, step down from being a CEO. He launched another, Twitter tirade. What was your guys' thoughts on that?
Wait, I thought he. Well, I know he paid the SEC fine, but I thought he was also required to step down for 3 years. I thought he had to.
From a chairman position, not the CEO.
Oh, okay, just from chairman. Okay.
Yeah, originally they wanted him to step down as CEO, but.
I don't know, man. I see what kind of move that is, because if you remove him, who does he get replaced with?
Yeah, but basically he tweeted something to the effect of, I got basically attacked by the short sellers enrichment committee or commission.
Yeah, no, he did, dude. What's his name he's been on Tesla's ass this whole time.
Well, on
Jim, was it Jim Thanos?
On that note, I want to say that that's something to be kind of watched too. Because then when you get at these market tops like this, what better time for a CEO to exit? They all read charts now. Because what comes to mind is what's his name, Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs. Yeah, he's leaving. Yeah, they know how to read charts. You don't want that on your watch. That you were head of the company when the market was tanking, and now you got to explain all the tough decisions that you got to make, that you had to make while the ship was sailing through rough waters. Just pass that on to somebody else.
What I was gonna say, the interesting thing about Tesla, man, is that I see Tesla like the middle of a struggle between sides, right? So on the one hand, a lot of where the value and a lot of that stuff where Elon, where he kind of maybe slipped out. Well, maybe he did, and that's why he got fined. But he slipped out about maybe taking Tesla private. The reason why was because on the back end, there were already 3 major players that had already put offers on the table to take them private. Right. So there was like a level of security in him kind of making that play, and then even with this move here, Tesla stock price has shot up. Now the guys that were trying to short Tesla are largely people who are acting largely
on the behalf of traditional energy conglomerates, you know, all your established automotive companies here in the United States. That's who they're largely acting on behalf of. On the flip side of that, those potential buyers were some Saudi royal or some Arab conglomerate, right? That were just going to basically just throw cash at it. They were just going to snatch it for cash. Volkswagen was revealed to be a potential buyer, and there was one other like obscure company I never heard of. I think it was Chinese.
Anything you guys want to add, Darwell and Mike?
No.
I don't know. I just felt like Elon Musk hasn't learned his lesson.
I almost think he's trolling, dude. He's doing it on purpose. Like, what lesson is there to learn? Yeah, I was gonna say, what lesson is there to learn, dude? If he's doing what he's doing, he's gotten to this point thus far, and the only thing he's gotten is a $20 million slap on the wrist. Oh, and I lose my chairman title.
When you're at the head of publicly traded company like this, you can't just fly off the handle on Twitter. You're not Donald Trump. There are consequences.
Well, what do you mean, dude? He went and smoked weed with Joe Rogan on his show, for crying out loud.
Look, he could end up. It might work in his favor. He might do a Steve Jobs. Okay, you got all getting ready to roll over as it may be rolling over as we showed on the chart, and we all know the interest rate is rising. We know that the automobile sector is in trouble, so it ain't a good time for him anyway to be. He's in the right industry at the wrong time, so it could be great that he steps away, let the destruction happen, and then he comes back in like Steve Jobs and to rescue the company from the ashes.
Well, when you say he's in the right, what do you mean by that? Like, he's in the right sector at the wrong time?
Yeah, it's the wrong time on the chart.
Okay, well, basically what the charts are saying. Okay, I got you.
Right. So what are you saying, Mike?
No, I was just gonna say he's trying to get himself fired from his own position. Either through the agencies or just by the board members.
Board members.
No, I don't think he can get fired because he stacked his board with his friends. But good.
What I'm saying is, it's kind of like if what Dollar Will is saying that it's a bad time for him to be in that position. It could be for him to, cause self-infliction on himself. You know what I mean? By putting out these tweets.
Yeah, it'd be perfect setup, man. Come back and be the hero, man.
Right. I just wanted to get to Devin's question before we sign off. Steve Bannon thinks Trump is beating China. Let's talk about it. I think it's a mutual combat at this point in terms of where the tariffs are going. China's hurting. There's been quite a few factories that have been closed and laid off a lot of employees. South Korea is hurting as well due to some of these tariffs. There's a lot of layoffs going on over there. Huawei took a hit. LTE took a hit.
Wow.
I still don't understand why the Trump administration didn't just let ZTE collapse, right? If they really wanted to do harm to, or get China to really face up, that would be one of the ways. Because I think when they slapped it wasn't a tariff, but it was, I guess, maybe kind of like an injunction of any American
it was
technology companies, doing business with or selling any of the hardware to them. I think they started teetering on the brink of collapse within like 5 days.
Right, and those are state-owned companies, so it's not like they're private. They're private.
You're hitting the Chinese, like you're hitting the government on that level.
Right. And China can only sustain so many blows. They can go 12 rounds, but they're gonna walk away with a bloody nose and a bloody lip, and and a black eye throughout this whole entire conflict. So it's probably, 6 one half, half dozen the other in terms of this whole entire tariffs thing between United States and China. Now, when they start putting sanctions on Chinese officials for doing business, for this whole entire S-400 surface-to-air missile system that they bought from Russia, now that's a whole entire different game. Now you're opening up, a prelude to war, because sanctions are a prelude to a war.
Yeah, isn't sanctions are actually considered an act of war, aren't they?
They are.
Yes, it's the first step. The first step.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, though, I had mentioned this on our chat on Wednesday night when BGS was on, and I was mentioning, I was like, well, look, I see it more of a pervasive maneuver, or from the Chinese. Given that I'm doing a lot of contract work here with Bird, the company Bird, like the entire everything that's here, from the scooters to the software platform and all that, it all came from there, right? So you actually have what are essentially like cloaked Chinese companies, right? Called Bird, and there's like some dude who went over there and made a deal, came over here, and they're unloading all of this stuff that's Chinese. It's all being loaded and brought here and put to use, and you're seeing a cycle of all of these scooters, new ones, parts, all types of stuff. It's all coming in. It's coming into circulation, and you're going to start to see this grow and expand. So in the long-term expanded view, I can see where, like, over the long run, like you said, 12 rounds. So I'm looking at like round 8. And round 8, I'm seeing Burr like all over the damn place, in Utah even. Okay, yeah, China's got the bloody nose and this and that. What does the U.S. have, man? I don't know. Like, these dudes just like sucking air, and taken to the mat a couple times already, or what? Because I don't see the American companies coming in competing on their own turf with regards to the implementation of transportation solutions like such as this. And
what the United States is doing at this point is they're basically bear hugging, the Chinese in terms of smothering them and not taking any more shots to the body.
Right.
Dancing around the ropes, because they can only go for so long themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
These farmers need to move out their product, and they're not able to move it out, so they're having to burn these crops if they have to. But they're being told that they're going to be subsidized with these tax credits.
And when they were, dude, like they weren't happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't happy with it.
Right. So, I mean, and it's not just China that they're doing this too. I mean, you have to take in the Canadians, take in the Mexicans as well. Europe is clapping back as well. Now they've created an alternative to the Swiss system to do business, cutting off the United States. South Korea is hurting right now. Turkey, is spiraling out of control over there. The lira hasn't really bounced back to its full strength yet. But then again, they've dropped Apple products from coming in, which has hurt Apple.
Yep. Yeah.
Right, and the leaders of these countries actually have more control over their, their citizens. So they're able to absorb a lot more pain than here in the U.S., where people are going to start voting these guys out if things happen. Xi is basically the emperor. He's president for life. So he has a long horizon in terms of what he can, what policies and things he can put into place. But American presidents only have so long, and Trump already broke with the tradition by essentially overturning, policies of the previous president as soon as he got in. So the other countries are looking at that and saying, there used to be continuity in the U.S. in terms of their policies. But now if every 4 to 8 years someone new comes in and does whatever they want, we can't really rely on the U.S.
Can't
and that's
rely
basically,
on them,
That's what Germany said at the, I believe it was the NATO meeting like last year, where all the NATO countries came together and the EU countries. Germany says, you know, we can no longer rely on the U.S. And that was probably one of the biggest blows of the Trump administration.
That was Juncker.
No, also,
Wait, say that again, Mike?
Angela Merkel said that. Not
Yeah, I was
just
gonna say,
the
didn't
EU
Merkel say that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
There's that famous picture. There's that famous picture of him sitting there with his arms folded, kind of like pouting. And you got
that's the G20. That's the G20.
That was the G20. Okay, yeah.
No, I think Juncker said, I guess something to the effect of, we need to look towards Europe for you know, our basically our foreign policy or something to that effect. But Merkel is the one who said, basically the U.S. isn't a stable ally or something to that effect.
Yeah, it was something like that.
But go ahead, Mike.
Well, right. The United States isn't a reliable ally, is basically what the European Commission was saying. So they had to create alternative markets for themselves and start looking east. That means going towards Russia, the Eurasian Union, which is the EEU, which is the Eurasian Economic Union, because Iran is 80 million people in population, as well as a very highly educated population as well. Although they've been cut off from the SWIFT system, they still have nuclear engineers and nuclear scientists and computer scientists at the top level. And this is a country that has been cut off from the rest of the world in terms of doing business. And you have a society that is highly portable to the rest of the globe, but it's been cut off economically. So there's a lot of interest in getting European companies into there, as well as American companies. You know, Boeing was all set up to go in there until Trump came in.
And you know, Mike, it's interesting, dude, because you have a lot of Persian money. There was actually a LA Times article that ran maybe like back in like mid-August maybe, and it was called Tarangelis, right? They were talking about like just the Persian Iranian presence here in SoCal, right? And how there's a lot of Persian money parked here, you know, and it's really kind of cut off from the mainland. You know, most people, there is a transference or some sort of transfer mechanism of money going back and forth when you have like a large group of people like here in the States, and then they have like their family and people back in wherever they are. Now, another group of people I can reference would be the Filipinos. A lot of them come here, work, they all live together, they work, and send money back to the Philippines, and then they'll buy like a huge plot of land and you just build like the equivalent of like a village, and then they just go back in about 10-15 years. So Iranians, though, Persians have largely been cut off from doing things like that, where they're largely moneyed here, but they can't transfer anything back there.
Right, and I think with these, like as we discussed earlier about cryptocurrencies, electronium, and the blockchain itself, you're going to see a lot of changes go into place where people take their U.S. dollars and send it back into their native countries and their native states through a crypto exchange.
Yeah, I can see that.
Exchange it over there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Let me check the chat one more time. Tesla is a bust waiting to happen. I don't know about that, Devin Liggins.
Oh, I don't buy that one. The Model 3 is the 5th best-selling car for Q3 right now in the United States. That's an electric car. From an electric car company. That's significant, dude.
I just think it's the wrong time right now because of what.
No, yeah, I do agree with what I will say.
But it's going to Tesla is not a bomb. That they're going to be a success story in the end.
That's what I'm saying. There's money. There's already money right now waiting to buy them. That's why Musk got slapped with that fine.
They're a tech company before they're a car company. So
Exactly.
it's important to understand. It's important to understand there's a dynamic there that other traditional car makers just don't have. I mean, they're starting to turn into that now. You see Ford spinning off.
Before I was going to say, yeah, Ford had to go. They literally had to reverse course.
So, Mike, so Tesla owns a lot of these patents and stuff, right? For
yep, and released them, dude. They're public domain, dude. You could, those patents are accessible.
Wow. So in a couple now, I'm sure some things in the manufacturing of electric cars.
Yeah, the process is.
Yeah. Now, so they're getting money for any new companies want to come forward and get into business. They're going to have to break off Tesla to use some of their technologies. So it doesn't take a lot of creativity to look ahead, say 3 to 5 years. Shoot, every daggone taxi cab is going to end up being either every Uber / taxi cab is going to have to be an electric vehicle.
Well, Dollar Will. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this also. Now, Tesla just signed a deal to develop I think this will be the biggest gigafactory, and this will be right outside of Shanghai. Now get this. Tesla, unlike other American companies, and this may be another reason why Musk might have gotten hit the way he did, because unlike other American companies, guess who gets to hold 100% of their shit? Tesla does. Now, I think this largely has to do with the fact that their patents are readily available. Whatever it was, how go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to answer Dollar Will's question or Dollar Will's statement about most of these cab companies, Uber and whatnot, will be using some form of Tesla. I don't see that happening. What I do see happening is Tesla and Lyft will be the biggest car. I guess the biggest fleet owners of cars, so to speak, because they'll either have some form of ownership through driver acquisition or through contracting, or they'll just flat out have these fleet of vehicles that are autonomously driven. Mm-hmm. Now that probably won't happen for another 10 to 15 years. But for right now, they do have the market in terms of they share the market, Uber and Lyft, in terms of car sharing. So
yeah, okay, but I said in 3 to 5 years. In 3 to 5, I think you don't see us going through a stage of drivers of electric cars before we get to autonomous.
You have that right now.
You already have that. See, the whole thing is that so when you look at the long-term rollout of all this driver stuff, and I'm gonna send you guys a link. I'm gonna kind of show you guys the basis of my first EV project was based on, and where that company has evolved to. But there's the link right. Oh, I'll put it in the chat too.
All right, when you guys say we have that right now, I mean fully implemented. What do you explain when you say?
Okay, so when Uber started, was it back in like 2011 or something like that, 2012? So the ultimate rollout here was that when the drivers are out here doing all of the driving routes, right, and they're using the GPS data, okay, all of that information is being recorded, right? It's
I got that, but that's later. It's going to be they're gathering the data for the autonomous vehicles, but the autonomous vehicles are not here right now.
No, they are here. They are here, and the data has already been collected. That's why Uber started testing the cars out here in California a couple years ago.
Well, when I mean here, I mean on the road, and that's the predominant, vehicle for Uber. No, the predominant vehicle right now, as we speak, is a human being.
It's a human being right now. Yeah.
How long is that gonna? So you're saying that because the autonomous vehicles, they already, they have the test model. So you're saying we're going to go from driver to autonomous, and there's not going to be a that intermediary stage that I'm talking
It's
about.
I'm almost certain, man. They're not gonna go from one to the other. They're gonna have it where like the car will drive itself, but there'll have to be like a person there.
You can't have level 5
Yeah.
with a steering wheel. That's almost a completely different stage of driving. But back to Dollarwell's point is that you know, we'll have these electric vehicles on the road. Well, you already have Priuses, you already have BMW's i3, I think that's what it is.
The i3, yeah.
Yeah, you have these vehicles on the road already. So I think the state of California, if I remember correctly, is the California Highway Patrol. I think they purchased something like 50 plus i3s or 100 i3s,
yep.
something like that.
They did, yep.
I got a question. Do you think that it will get to the point where autonomous vehicles for individuals will be mandatory? Because here's the basis for the question. We like driving, okay? Because there's technology to do away with the driver, doesn't mean that that people will really that are gonna adopt it. We like driving.
We like driving. Millennials ain't buying cars though.
Well,
yeah.
Because they're not buying cars doesn't mean they don't like driving.
No. They don't. They really don't like driving, dude. They like riding bird scooters and getting into Uber cars with their friends, and they don't like doing stuff. Like that's burden. Wait,
man, that's a clip. We gotta say that they don't like doing stuff. Wow,
that came out
like
wrong.
That. No, it came out perfect.
That came out.
It was freaking perfectly. Couldn't even script that any better.
That came out wrong.
Well, look at anti-gravity. Look at anti-gravity.
You mean so he doesn't like doing anything? What you doing, anti-gravity? Nothing.
No. That dude is trying to do some mega large shit. He told me about it yesterday on the phone. We'll talk about it privately, dude. You have to tell you about it.
No, I like driving, but a lot of, especially Generation Z, they're not getting driver license as much. And if urbanization continues at the pace it is, there'll be more cities like New York, so there won't be as much of a need for people to drive. I think maybe, Dollarwell, you're underestimating, I guess, the adoption rate for people not wanting to drive and having them be driven. I think that might come quicker than you think. Well, people just accept it. One generation, I think, would be enough.
Dude, like I'm saying, the way the bird stuff is taking shape, man, look, people all over, so I work areas like Santa Monica and Culver City. All them people, like, they're like, dude, I don't need a car anymore. That's like the number one thing I always hear from people. Like, oh yeah, I just Uber, Lyft, and I just bird it, dude.
Well, I think we fixed the birth rate problem because cars without drivers are going to have a condom rack. We fixed the population problem.
Well, to
Man,
your point,
look on the bright side. No more drunk driving, you know? Everyone just gets picked up by their own car.
Just hacked driving.
Well, to your point, Dollarwell, it's people won't be buying cars anyways. That's why Ford is closing off their subcompact division.
Right.
There's really no need to produce vehicles that people aren't buying anymore and that they can't afford to buy. So there's new emergencies coming out of your big auto manufacturers where they're creating their own car sharing programs. Cadillac, Audi created something like Silverline. Ford is working on something.
BMW has one.
There's an app.
Yeah.
There's an app on your phone called Clutch. I believe that's the name of it, where you can basically pay a subscription per year, like Netflix, and you basically get to take out whichever car you want.
Yep.
Porsche is working on a car sharing program in Atlanta right now, because I think that's their regional headquarters, or their national headquarters is in Atlanta. So, I mean, you're seeing all of these maneuvers take place as a way to get around people buying cars, because one, people can't afford to buy them anymore, and two, the used car market is going up right now, because most people who can't qualify to buy a new car are just scrambling looking for these secondhand vehicles on Craigslist and everything else, and you know the prices are going up on a used car, or just to be one in one with a new car. You got cars with 30,000 miles on them being only 10% difference between that and a car with 0 miles brand new. It's ridiculous.
Well, Mike, I got to tell you, man, I don't know, because here in California, dude, man, there is like a surplus. When I say there's a surplus of cars, there is a surplus of cars. Just on my commutes, you know, I go by different like dealerships and stuff like that, and usually dealerships will lease some land close by, right? And then they'll stash a whole bunch of extra cars that they have that they don't have room to put on the lots. Man, you know how many places there are where there's just a whole bunch of brand new cars just stashed away collecting dust right now? Like, and that's just new cars. And then you have the used car market, and how many used cars are on there. Pretty much, you can walk into any place here in California, any used car dealership, and let's say there's a car like 5-6 years old, and let's just say you've only been on job for like 2 weeks, you're like, dude, I need a car. They'll approve you and get you in that bitch. That's how desperate they are to like just push cars, because there's just so many of them. There's way more cars than buyers.
Yeah, there's a subprime bubble for cars at the moment.
Yeah, there is. And I remember, I think they were talking about Uber was like a big driver of that with the driver rideshare thing, where the drivers got the cars, but then when Uber started reducing the rates, all the drivers started being upside down on the loans on the cars. So I think they ended up doing away with the program, where they outsourced it, gave it to somebody else entirely.
Yeah, and you have to remember that the people up top are basically telling the auto manufacturers, you know, produce more vehicles, you know, to drive up the shares. And then you factor in that the dealerships are being told you have to move these cars now before the warranty expires on them. I went to a dealership, I think last week. They had brand new cars that have been sitting there for 2 years, haven't been touched, haven't been moved. Yeah.
2 years? Like, wow.
You got 2015, 2016 McLaren
sitting on the lot,
haven't been moved.
Wow.
See, old fogies in my age category, we gonna be buying those cars. we still got to get our lean on.
Well, the whole thing is
doing, Dollar Will.
Go ahead, Mike.
You know what they're doing, Dollar Will, is they're moving to these new car sharing programs where people just take them out for a weekend or take them out for a week, or whatever it is, and that's the way they can move them. They can't move them through a full MSRP
like purchase. Yeah. And you know, Mike, another thing that they do too is like, so you mentioned McLaren, like, okay, so all of these manufacturers, you know what they also do? A lot of those gluts of cars, they make one make racing series. So they'll take a whole group of those cars, and then what they do is they'll spec them out for racing, and then get some dudes some gentleman racers who want to race for the weekend, and get them to pay. It's similar to a rideshare type of thing.
Or we'll end up with like monthly or quarterly leases of the vehicle, and we just take it in, or rental. If you can call it a lease, you can call it a rental. It doesn't really matter. You get completely out of the maintenance. At the end of the month, you go and trade in and get another car. And
that's what Mike was talking about.
Yeah, that's a car sharing program. That's a car sharing
program what you do.
They have now.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
you can take it in whenever you want and switch it out, dude. You're like, you know what? I want this car this weekend. I want to go and grab this. Go take it in, turn it in the keys. They'll give you the keys to the one you want. Go take it out.
Acura was giving away cars, I think, last year or maybe 6 months ago, 30% off. Can't move cars.
Acura? And you know what's crazy? They priced that new NSX at like $150,000, dude.
They can't move it.
How do you expect to move that thing?
Well, that's typically the price. That's relative to where it needs to be, because it's
for an NSX,
a Ferrari, right?
For an NSX, dude.
Well, it's half the price of a Ferrari. That's always been its mission, right? It's always been half the price of a Ferrari. So, a Ferrari 458, 488 is around 285, 300 grand.
Yeah.
Ferrari. NSX is about half that, right? So that makes sense. But even at 150K, people aren't really interested in it.
Bro, man, because you can go and get it. You can go and get a GTR for that.
Okay, audience, this
Right.
is the section of the show for the baller tech workers.
Oh, sorry.
Talking about NX. Good Lord, man. Y'all in the dough.
I ain't in the dough like that. Not like that. I throw my money at cars.
We bring this up.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
We bring this up because it's relative to where the market is shifting into.
Yeah.
There is no real reason. There is no real reason to buy a car at this point if you don't have one.
Hey man, I like to inspire and reach. You bring it on. Tell us about it.
Reach the pedal.
Reach the pedal. Reach for ownership or something like that, man.
Oh,
I mean, stuff like that, man. Like car ownership, man. That's going to be largely like a cash purchase or something, man. Like just leasing or financing, automobiles like that. It's really, unless it's tied into like a business where it's largely a write-off or something like that. Just for a person to just go and buy a car, you might as well just go buy something cheap on the used market and use it as something that's utility. I don't know if it's, like I said, I kind of agree with Mike and Noah. Like, I don't know if it's.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't think boomers and older Gen Xers. I think we're gonna want to own our car until we die. I don't think we're gonna go for this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's typically where you came from, right? But where the market is going, it's going to get to a point where it's not even necessary. Even Lincoln, right? For example, their customer service, when you need maintenance done on your car, they come and drop off another car to you and then take your car to the dealership. I mean, that type of service is almost going to be a thing of the past, so to speak. Won't even need that.
I believe you. I absolutely believe that it's going to work that way. I mean, I remember I took my old Acura in to the deal. I got mad when they gave me a new one, to drive. I'm like, what the hell you going to give me this for? I'm not going to want my car back. Don't give me this.
You're going to give me this, dude? I got to take my thing back. What?
Don't do that.
Yeah, so I would invest into vacant parcels if we're going to talk about the ramifications of all this.
Yeah, right.
Car dealerships need to stash.
They need to store them somewhere.
Stash these unused, unsold vehicles onto a lot. I do think that vehicle parking carousels are going to be the new thing now because of all these excess vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what a parking carousel is, it's basically like a Ferris wheel for cars where they park vertically. You're starting to see a lot of small parcels take advantage of the small space and basically stack cars up like Legos.
Yeah, they have those. They like these stackable car racks. They use them in Japan. I'm sure you've seen this, Mike, in those shops because Japan is like starved for space, so everything's vertical. And in a lot of the shops in Japan, they'll stack cars like 3 and 4 high in a shop.
Well, the carousel I'm talking about goes at least 12 to 15 high.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like a Ferris wheel for cars. Basically, a car goes up in the elevator, automated. And it goes to the top
I think I've seen one. Was it Porsche? I think it was in Germany. They have one of these things. Yeah, okay, I see. It's like a complete, like an automated carousel type of thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yep, it's like a Ferris wheel. And I think there's a guy in Ethiopia who designed one to be like the size of like two car spaces, but basically it stacks upward, and you based on your biometric authentication, it basically brings your car down for you.
Your car, yeah. Now it's interesting you mentioned this because I saw another car storage system, and it's completely automated. So you pull your car into this thing, and it's like when you pull your car into like the little like a dyno or the little wheel type of mechanism when you get your smog done, right? Well, it's one of these things that all 4 wheels goes on it, And then what happens is that it actually raises up, and they're like bots. And then it has like this coordinated thing where it goes into this warehouse type of space, and then these bots just basically move the car around and it warehouses it, right? So you come in, you scan a little QR code, and in about 5 minutes, these little bots roll your car out. It's some crazy stuff. I'll have to find it, man. But yeah, it speaks to what you're saying, man, because I can imagine like a lot of like covered parking, commercial parking spaces, probably like leasing out like the top levels, the upper levels of the parking structures, and then saying, yeah, go ahead and park your cars here.
I think what I would do right now is we'll close out the
Okay.
hangout. I think we covered everything.
That's what's up. Well, yeah, it's been a good one. I don't have anything else. I know we'll be circling back around for Monday, right?
I'm actually gonna run the space and technology hangout tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night? Okay. Right.
Yep.
Well then, yeah, we'll circle back around tomorrow night.
All right. So for all you people listening and watching, we'll be back tomorrow night, probably around 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for space and technology.
Alrighty, folks.
Peace.
Peace.